I call the June 28th, 2023 meeting of the Grafton, Mass. Board of Library Trustees to order. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And let's see. Before I get to the agenda, I just want to say that I hope people found I toyed around with putting a meeting packet together. How'd that work out for everyone?
I thought it's good to have all the documents in one place
Thank you.
and all in one document, really. So
All right, cool.
Yeah, the only feedback I would give is
Please.
before it's posted,
Yep.
right? I think we should at least review it
Okay.
to
Okay.
see if there's anything we want to add.
Okay.
Because if there were certain policies to vote on,
Right.
I'd want to make sure to include those.
Right. Right.
I don't believe there's any for vote tonight. We didn't
Okay.
send any out for review, so.
Right, and I think that, normally what I would do is, and Beth had, attached all the documents that she thought would be all combined. She combined them in an email to me.
Yep.
And I put those all together, and that coincided with the things that she had sent to me throughout the month. But no, that point well taken. I think that, and then the other thing is too, is that once the agenda is posted, and as long as you're not changing the agenda, even within the 48 hours, you can change the meeting packet. That's just the backup materials. And so if there were ever any time where we thought last minute there was an additional document that, even if we had all discussed, that we were going to include in the packet, that can be amended multiple times. And then when Cindy I'd post the meeting packets, she would say amendment 1 or amendment 2, whatever version that is. So yeah, moving forward, and Debbie and I had spoken, moving forward now, with her increased hours, she may be willing to take a stab at it, as she cringes. But that would be something that a lot of the committees do, is I know the select board does it, and school committee and others. They have meeting materials, even if they're not contained as one document, there's a place on their web page for meeting materials. So I appreciate that feedback, Aaron.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
And I just wanted to say, from a formatting perspective, you'll see that there's no Roman numerals with this particular agenda. And the reason is that, and I discussed this with Beth and Debbie, is that the WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, strongly recommend not putting Roman numerals unless they're absolutely necessary. Sometimes legal documents may historically have Roman numerals, but unless they're absolutely necessary, to avoid both Roman numerals and special characters, as it messes up with the text-to-speech function. It doesn't recognize Roman numerals as a number in like an agenda. When it's following like an agenda or something, it'll say, X1 or whatever, versus the number 11. So
All of our policies are being reformatted to the Roman numeral format from
really?
a previous trustee's recommendation. So as
two
an update-
Roman numerals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Not necessarily Roman numeral, but so that we could say section 1, section 2. So
Right.
we'll need to renumber those. I think,
Yeah, and
as
so
we review them.
so I understand Roman numerals because I grew up on Roman numerals as part of my schooling, but it was more from an accessibility standpoint that those text to speech readers just messes up that function.
Okay.
So moving to the draft minutes of May 24th, I will accept a motion to approve the minutes as drafted.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 24th minutes of 2023.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by John, seconded by Aaron to approve the draft minutes. Do I have any discussion on the motion? All right, I have a few comments. So Debbie, do you have the Word document up? Are you going along as the, are you typing away as we're discussing this, or? Okay. from a formatting perspective, the agenda for May 24th indicated like numbers, even if we maintain Roman numerals for consistency for that meeting. So, so when these do get approved, if you could, unless we haven't done this, add the corresponding Roman numerals to the different headers. And then the other thing is that on, either we could include it in the first paragraph in calling to order, but minutes, meeting minutes, according to the open meeting law, should include the location that the meeting occurred in, just as the agenda did. And so along those lines, the call to order, it says the meeting was convened via Zoom, but it was actually in person in conference room A. So either you could do one of two things, either just add Municipal Center Conference Room A under the date and just delete that reference to Zoom, or just include the reference only in that first paragraph for, and then at the end of the paragraph, participating in person. In other words, it mentions Zoom, and then at the last three words it says via video conference, so.
Wait, excuse me. Can I
Yes,
speak?
please.
I think that was, the video was, oh no, okay, I'm sorry. We had the minutes from the May 8th was. via
Right.
Zoom. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
And then, all right. This could kind of slide, but I'm not going to make a big thing of it. It's on the second page. PT personnel, Beth is tracking I think that squiggle means approximately.
Yes.
And so for special characters, I mean, we could leave it in there, but in the future, I guess, using the word approximately versus a special character, I'm just only referencing the whole accessibility guidelines for text to speech. Under the FY24 budget, the 160,000 lead grant, the second line, Word document corrected you to say the word lead, L-E-A-D, when it's caps L-E-E-D. And then,
That looks like lead.
all right, lead, oh, right. And then two little circles down about the HVAC issues. That first line, second to last word, the word what can be deleted. It says not consistent with what the thermostat, that word what can be deleted. And then on the Grafton Public Library capital campaign update that starts on the bottom of page 2 and goes to the top of page 3. The last bullet point, Roger asked whether benches were available for donation naming rights. And I guess that next sentence, it says they are. I'm wondering if maybe the better sense is they had been. In other words, it was in the past that these benches were named, and it wasn't that it was an ongoing, like, current thing. So I'm thinking maybe the better way for that second sentence, instead of they are, they had been, so that
Well-
people know that it was a completed action. In other words, they're no longer continuing to be named, right?
You could just say they, I guess you could say something like they have been named.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Money was donated so that we were
Yeah.
able to buy them and they were named, is what happened.
All right, cool. Everyone okay with that?
So I have a question though. If I tell you tomorrow that I want to buy and donate a bench and name it,
Well, that was my
because I thought it was an
too.
ongoing thing because there's still space for more benches.
Well,
Oh, I was
I don't
referring
know
to
if
the
we re-
benches that existed, that's all.
yeah, I don't know. Honestly, Beth, I think we might try to find something else because
Okay.
I think we do have enough benches, but that thought also occurred to me. So
Okay.
we don't want to,
Gotcha.
we don't really.
Yeah, and I don't
discourage
wanna
people.
get-
There's other furniture that could be purchased that would be about the same price.
Okay.
So is everyone on board with what Dana said
Yeah.
about they had been,
They were named.
they were named, all right.
Just for clarification, these are the 6 new benches and they've already been named.
That is correct.
So there, no more naming rights rights are available for benches
For those
Not for
that-
at the
those,
current time.
at the current time. We do have, inside the building, there's lots of, window benches and other things. And, if someone wants to, I won't go on it, if somebody wants an out of the scope project, we're not gonna say no. But I think we have enough for now, but
All right.
we would never really say no. We could put one in the garden if somebody really wants one.
All right, no, and those are all the comments I made. I just have to comment that these are like really so like super readable, Debbie, that, yeah, they
Yeah,
were
they're
just very,
beautiful.
yeah. I'm a word nerd and a word geek, and these things, I went to Catholic school, this stuff jumps out at me when I see something, but, yeah, it was really readable. Thank you for taking excellent minutes. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. Okay, moving on to approving, bills. Starting with warrant number 48, we're gonna tackle 48 through 52. On each of them, I'll just ask for a motion to approve, including the funding source or sources. That section, that piece of the puzzle is new to me as far as funding sources, and so, warrant number 48 in the amount of $8,058.54. I will accept a motion to approve that warrant.
I'll make a motion to approve, warrant, was it 48?
Yes.
If you could just restate the amount and then the funding source or sources.
All right, I'd like a motion to approve warrant number 48 in the amount of $8,058.54, with $2,872.61 coming from general funds, $327.34 coming from encumbrance funds, $2,500 coming from state grant town funds, $871.62 coming from revolving fund town, and $1,486.97 coming from other special revenue town.
All right, and do I have a second?
I second.
All
I
right,
agree with the warrant.
Dana seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dana, is that an aye?
Yes, aye,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. All right, warrant number 49 for 2369 and 98. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve warrant number 49 in the amount of $2,369.98.
And you know what? One of the things I'll mention too is, and I'll interrupt you for a moment. If it's lengthy, you could just say as contained in the meeting packet.
Okay.
All right, that would suffice by
Yeah, I mean,
reference.
it's,
Yeah, as contained
Okay,
in the
good,
meeting
'cause then
packet.
I can help.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And just, all of these are detailed when I send the warrant to, it'll say X number from the general fund for,
Right.
the book
True,
budget and,
yeah.
yeah, office supplies.
Sure, yeah.
just a point of so these weren't the sources, the last one we discussed, it wasn't the source of the fund, it's where we're paying money to, right?
No,
No, this last
the
one?
source is what John read. And then, the next page is who we're paying it to, but what's not reflected on the summary sheet for your benefit is that, you say the Baker and Taylor is 5515, which is general ledger expense for educational materials. So that's like the next sheet, which I didn't include in the packet, because then there's 15 pages of invoice summary in those bill packets. So I'm gonna go up a page, you can look at my screen here, Carrie, so from the general fund, that $2,872.61 is made up from expenses from Baker and Taylor, from Blackstone Audio, from Market Spark, Overdrive. Renaud is a separate fund. $2,500 from Renaud is actually the state grant, that was state aid money,
Okay,
I think, that we approved.
okay, so then,
Yeah, so it's not broken up in this way, but it's all when I send out each warrant, it's explained and you get the whole 15-page document.
so for the first one for warrant number 48, You have the funding sources, so I see the 8,058.54.
Yeah.
And that's what John read out, each one of those funding sources. Then after that, we have the bills payable summary, and it has Baker and Taylor and all the other ones, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then we would come to the next one, I see the bills payable summary, but I don't see the funding source, so that's
It's
Because
why,
It's out
it's
of
the next
order.
page, it's out of
Yeah.
order.
Okay,
That one's just out of order.
Yeah.
okay.
all right, so that was for the 2369.98.
Yep.
All right,
It just is on the next page.
all right, and so do I have a second on the motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, motion made by John, seconded by Carrie. Any discussion?
The $230.05 reimbursement to Debbie Jackson is for our amazing Mexican lunch that she made at our staff development,
Awesome.
which the previous board had agreed to help pay for. We took it out of gift account. You can contribute if you would like to, but we just took it out of the gift account to
Okay.
feed the staff.
Okay, that was nice.
You're not obligated. The food was amazing. But it's gift account, so it's a separate
Okay,
funding source, which is,
all right, and any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. Warrant number 50 in the amount of $6,872.52. And do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve warrant number 50 for the amount of $6,872.52. And with the source of the funds being contained in the meeting packet.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by John, seconded by Aaron. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. Warrant number 51 in the amount of $5,128.46. I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant number 51 in the amount of $5,128.46, with the funding sources contained in the meeting packet.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, motion made by John, seconded by Dana. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dana's that night?
Aye.
All right.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. Warrant number 52 in the amount of $43,346.77. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant number 52, the amount of $43,346.77, with the funding source details in the meeting packet.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by John, seconded by Aaron. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Beth,
Yes.
could you explain the $26,008.72 for CTA Construction Managers LLC, please?
yes. So we've had about $70,000 in retainage to finish remaining bits of the project, including the HVAC system, the presentation area doors. I think there's one more sign. And they've had their partial completion for things that are left and have a bill, like from the door installer, that they have to pay. So they invoiced us a percentage of the retainage. And there was an issue where, we sat in meeting and said, I think they originally asked for like 58,000. And we said, well, the work's not done though, so we want to reduce it. And they voted on an amount in the meeting, and I asked them to amend the invoice to that amount, and instead they changed it to an amount off by 35 cents. So then I had to bring that to accounting and say, so what do I do? Do I pay what the invoice is for, or do I pay what we voted for in public meeting? And I was told by the town to vote what we agreed to in the public meeting per the minutes. So there's a 35-cent discrepancy from the invoice. But it's for construction work that's been done. It's money that we had budgeted and still have. And the reason this total warrant is so high is because we
Okay.
paid a significant.
And one of the sources of the funding, we can see 33,458 and 32 cents was, the fund was from the capital
Yeah.
project, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So there must have been something else, but, and then the, item underneath that, the APA LLC, 7,180, is that also related
Yeah,
to,
that's-
continuation?
Yeah, no, actually, that makes up the difference of the 33,458 and 32 cents, and that is a humidifier, a commercial humidifier that we purchased, and we're waiting for Renaud to give us a quote so they can install it for us for the historic document room.
Oh.
Yeah, it was originally part of the project. was very complicated. The system that they had designed wasn't going to work, so they took it out of the project, which meant we had a credit. And then for less money than the value of that credit, we bought a standalone unit.
Okay.
It's just sitting on a pallet at the moment, though, in that room. It's not installed yet. So it's on the horizon.
So those last three you're saying add up, the Drummy, Roseanne,
It should.
CTA, and APA, yes, all right. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does,
Awesome.
thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, any further discussion on the motion?
Here's the-
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. All right, moving on to ongoing business, 3A, MPLCP Building Program / Grant Update. Beth?
Sure. So the update I have is that we've just got a little bit of retainage left because the project continues to move along. There was somebody to look at not the HVAC sound and thermostat issues that I've been experiencing, but access to filters for the system, because I was hearing from Renaud HVAC, who's our local contracted, they do maintenance 4 times a year, that there were places where they were supposed to be able to open a hatch and then pull out a filter and wash it and put it back or put in a new filter. And they went like up into the ceiling and there wasn't enough room for the hatch to open so they could exchange that. So there seems to be a discrepancy between the layout of the unit and then the layout of the ceiling tile, which is a hung ceiling. So it's correctable. So my understanding is that the hardware team is taking the feedback from Renaud to make it so that they can access the panels that they need to access to change the filters. We have our next construction team meeting on July 10th, and that's when I'll be following up to ask about the noises that we're still hearing over the staff room. The feedback from Renaud was whatever got fixed or repaired, there should have been some rubber pieces or caps to go on the unit on the roof that would prevent the vibration and the clanking. And the hardware company says that the unit didn't come with that, so we didn't install it because it wasn't in the manual and then we didn't get it. Okay. So now the question is, well then who's going to be responsible to take care of that?
So is there, if I understood correctly from some emails and the pictures, so is there a professional disagreement as to how this thing should be put together? And I think that there was a comment, I forget who it was, that there was one individual who wasn't aware that there was this going to be a pro bono freebie full inspection and they would have otherwise shown up.
I have no idea.
There was someone that gave maybe free of charge services, right?
Oh, yeah, I
Inspection.
think
Who was
Renaud. So Renaud HVAC, who,
Okay.
again, we have the town uses them all through the town buildings, right? And they're local. We have a contract with them now to come twice a year. So they came, yes, at no charge to
Right.
meet with the construction people to say, we can't access this and we need to access it. And here's our recommendation, that
Right.
you fix this panel and that panel and that you put rubber, whatever gaskets or stops or feet on this unit on the roof to stop the noise and vibration.
So on July 10th, will all the necessary parties be in the same room at the same time to be able to iron
So
out the differences?
That's not a meeting Renaud would come to because they're not
Okay.
part of the construction team.
Okay.
And I highly doubt that anyone from Veterans or LG or Advantage, which is the hardware, the software, and the thermostats, will come to those meetings because they are subcontractors and they usually don't.
Okay.
So it's up to the architect and the owner's project manager, and William Blake sits in on those meetings, and myself, to continue to agitate with the owner's project manager.
All right, so the
get these things
architect,
shaken.
the OPM, and the TA are gonna be in that room, and that's.
And our
prob-
lead specialist too. She can't get our lead certification finished
okay.
until we have the final sign off for the HVAC system.
Okay.
Which is why we're not getting a check this year. It's been gonna be put off a year because we missed the deadline.
So the lead, the lead, is that you're saying that's an annual thing? It's a certification process?
No, it's a one-time thing.
One
But
time.
oh yeah, so it's not a
No.
rolling application. Like they had to get all their stuff in to get a decision by the end of the year, which is when we're eligible to apply for that money from Massport.
So how much money are we talking about
lot.
that we left
One hundred
on?
and 60,000. So it's coming.
a
It
lot of
just
money.
means because I'm sure it'll pass. Like I think we have enough points to get this over lead certification.
So HVAC is the only thing that's
Holding
keeping
that.
us
Yes.
from HVAC, okay. And are these dedicated funds, like, it's not guesswork, it's just a matter of timing that once we know objectively that this checklist is complete,
Yeah.
that 160 grant is coming.
We finish the packet with the checklist.
All right,
And then whoever gives out that award says, yes, you have the award.
okay.
And then we can include that in the next application for reimbursement on the grant,
Okay.
which is gonna be next April, because we already asked for money this year.
All right, so you're saying when's the deadline, the next
April.
round? April, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
And then
Dave?
that
I
money,
just wonder if, Beth, can you, for people that don't
Yeah.
know the LEED certification, can you just explain what was done to achieve that?
Yeah.
And why we as a library
Yes.
and the building and construction committee would want that to, pursue that?
And that's lead silver?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, please, yeah.
I forget what LEED stands for. One of you might know LEED. It's a standard for trying to run a green business or a green facility, right? So there's a whole checklist that we got ahead of time. So we started this application process, remember, in like 2017 with our grant application. So we did the building design based on whatever that current standard was. So that was more than 5 years ago, and it could have changed. Like, it could be more stringent now. But at that time, there's a list of all these different categories, from appliances to light bulbs to the HVAC system to the native plantings. And you could get points in any of these categories that would total up to a number. And then they had, a platinum, a gold, a silver, maybe an honorable mention kind of category. So as part of the grant process, MBLC said that they would give a percentage of money on top of the grant award if you achieved any of these LEED certifications. So at silver LEED certification is like an additional 2.5%, I think. Maybe it's 10%. So we're slated to get $160,000 back on top of the $7.4 million award as a reward for using energy efficient appliances and putting in native plantings and using an energy efficient HVAC system and having shades on the windows, it's a whole
Natural
bunch.
light
Having a
coming in
shower and bike
Right.
racks so people can
Yep.
employees can bike to work and take a shower. Gave us points.
I was wondering why
Yeah.
the shower was there.
So it's a lead
Okay,
point.
Okay,
Yeah, and the goal was to build and design the building with extra points, like 10 to 12 points over silver, so that if there were any technicalities or points we didn't get, there would always be like a few left to try and hit that silver goal.
so what is the turnaround time for, all right, so you were mentioning April.
Yeah.
What is the turnaround time from when we submit it to the time we get reimbursed? Is there,
Usually it's July. So
okay,
yeah, so we did our
90 days?
submission April, I think around mid-April, to Mass Board Library Commissioners, so they could get it on their May agenda and vote for it before the end of the fiscal year that ends this, in 2 days, right, June 30th. And then they'll cut a check soon if they haven't already. They're doing electronic transfer now.
okay.
So we would be able to include it with the, 20% grant reimbursement payment request. So we got our request in for the grant reimbursement, and if we had had the silver LEED certification paperwork or award by then, we could have also done a request for the $160,000.
But we have to wait, right?
So now, but now we have to wait because we can't ask MBLC for the money mid-year, like they have a funding
Right.
cycle,
Well,
and we have to follow that.
Does it make sense to apply as soon as we get this
No,
result?
they're gonna want us to wait until like April.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
And again, with our next reimbursement, like we'll do it all together.
and what happens with that money?
It goes to the library capital fund that was set up, I believe, at town meeting. Like, it doesn't go into the general fund. It doesn't come into the general expense ledger or the gift account or state aid. Like, it goes into the library, it should go into the library capital fund so that if there's other things that we still need to do on the building, that we have that money to draw on. Like,
So
if we
our-
wanted to do solar panels or more benches or whatever.
So our FY '25 budget doesn't get reduced by that amount, that's
No,
a separate pot?
separate.
Okay,
Yes.
Could that go right to the bonding or doesn't? To pay
it-
off the bond?
It could, but it should go to fix the cupola. If we still have to, or there's always gonna be expenses.
Well,
So
I think we're gonna have that taken care of. We'll see.
so-
I thought that it could immediately be used to have the bond decrease, but.
yeah, but if we still didn't get everything that we needed that was in the building program, because we spent almost $2 million on soil remediation,
That's true.
like we need to take care of shelving that we still don't have.
Okay, I just wondered. I misunderstood then.
and I don't know the mechanics, this would be a town administrator with a town attorney question about the different ways Prop 2.5 debt exclusions can be worded. There's different categories, and some of them preclude the mechanics of paying things off early, in certain ways. There's there's a question that would need to be asked of the town administrator as to, even if we wanted to do that, could it be done?
One of the things that was like fell by the wayside for the project was some kind of screening on the roof to minimize
right.
the HVAC units that are up there.
That's right.
And I think the building committee had committed to the Historic District Commission that they would prioritize that.
Okay.
So, and we're not likely to do solar panels. In conversation with Evan, it sounded like we're not gonna really like make any money or save significantly on the energy bill if we were to put them up there. And the design of the rooftop is not such that we can put a lot of panels up there, even though it is wired for them. So, it seems like
Okay.
the we'll take care of the roof screens and then see what's left.
Now, on this agenda item 3A on grant, that's separate from the Mass Historic grant,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Is that on our agenda tonight?
I don't think it
Okay.
is.
Should be. That's pretty big news.
All right,
We
so,
didn't have the news when we made the agenda 2 weeks ago.
MPLCP, what does that stand for
The
again?
Mass Public Library Construction Program Grant,
All
which
right,
is
so that
administered by
would,
MBLC.
any announcement would not fall under, maybe under new business, we can just add it, okay?
I think we should.
Yeah, under 3F.
Thank you, Roger. I think that's pretty
5F.
important.
When I saw the word grant, I wasn't paying closer attention to the acronym prior to that, the MPLCP.
Yeah.
So we can make that 5F.
All right.
Beth, I think that went over the radar with other people
Yeah,
because
I'm
Doug
sorry.
didn't know about it when
Oh,
I told him
must have
this
only sent
morning,
it to my
today.
chairs, I'm sorry.
So, no, it's not your fault. I'm just saying it's great. We're going to talk about it.
So
Yeah.
Beth,
And then we'll add it as an ongoing business item
Okay,
for
yeah.
future agendas.
All right.
MHC grant.
does anyone have any questions for Beth regarding the building program and grant?
I have one quick one.
Yeah, please.
Was it also, does the HVAC issues also include the kazoo noise? That,
Is that some people have said kazoo, some have said old man clearing their throat. I say it sounds like a hard water crank. Yeah, so
I go with kazoo. I heard it.
I heard it 3 or 4 times and I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was. It was kind of scary.
it's startling. It's even worse in the staff room. So again, like I thought that the meeting that they were having on site was going to be people who were going to come and sit and listen for the noise and tell me I'm not crazy. Yes, they hear it too, and it should do that or it shouldn't do that. And to my knowledge, that has not happened.
Okay. I would, I mean, I'm not an HVAC person, but I would kind of bet money that that's not supposed to make that noise. You know, like there's like a slight whistling, you know, air whooshing sound in the children's room. That's normal. That's air blowing, circulating
Yeah.
around, right? But this noise was like not normal. And I think I want to say it's something installed wrong or installed backwards or something, because it sounds like there's pressure building up and that loud noise is that pressure releasing, because it was also, when I heard it, it was also followed by like a hiss, like an audible hiss of like either air escaping or something like that. So yeah.
Okay.
I have one item, and I'm not sure where on the agenda it makes sense, but we did have an issue with some flooding in the library, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that falls under this
Maybe
item.
under new business,
Building.
or somewhere under, well, not the building
It'll
program. or
kind of come
yes.
up in the walkabout
Yeah.
as well.
Okay, all right, maybe we could, talk
During the
about it more.
walkabout?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? Are you ready to move on to 3B, Beth, FY '23 budget update?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
I think I did send out what I don't know where in the packet it is. I did send out for June 1st the update, which is that we're 89% spent for the fiscal year, which made sense for the 1st of June. So at the moment, I don't have concerns, but we're just about to hit June 30th. So.
Did all the transfers,
Yeah.
there was a meeting, was it Town Administrator Finance Committee? Was it, there were year-end transfers?
I have to do the one for the staff. I haven't
Okay.
done it yet.
All right, so
We still
that
have
doesn't
those.
require, that's something that is done before Friday
Internally, yeah.
internally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you repeat what you just said? I think I didn't hear it
So
properly.
in the past, if we had to make a budget adjustment, we would have to vote on it at town meeting. Because we have 3 lines, we have expenses, personnel, and equipment. And you can spend, and then there's a bunch of accounts in each one of those 3 categories. And you can spend within each grouping, but I couldn't take, say, money from the book budget and put in personnel. That has to be done at town meeting. But we can do transfers, again, like not within those 3 budgets, but from other sources into any of those accounts. So I had asked months ago if we could appropriate up to $28,000 from state aid when we had $170,000 in those accounts to transfer into the personnel line for our general expense ledger. And the board voted to do that, and I've been tracking it. I've been out for a week though, so I haven't kept up. We were around 8,000 spent when I did my director's report, so we're gonna be probably between 12 and 14 once I total it up. So it's not even around half of that will get transferred from state aid directly into personnel before the fiscal year closes, which we have until July 13th. I think.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think we have like 2 weeks into July to close the books for the last fiscal year, while
think
we're
it-
simultaneously starting the new one.
And we'll have spent all our money?
No, I don't think we're gonna spend even half of it but we appropriated, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you mean for the total expense? But
Yeah.
we should be pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have to move money, I won't, you know.
No, I just wanted
But-
to know the overall number, because I
Yeah.
just didn't understand.
And what happens is that, and I didn't realize this until recently, I was watching a select board meeting where Evan had mentioned the term Municipal Modernization Act has streamlined a ton of the year-end financial processes where it doesn't have to go back to town meeting, because town meeting appropriates as 2 line items about like expenses and personnel, and you can't just
Yeah,
transfer between them.
yeah.
And this allowed for the internal mechanism to do it, but, so you're saying we're like right up to that expense?
Well, again, for the board transfer, we're about halfway, but I think if we were 89% spent June 1st, then yeah, we're gonna spend close to all
So
of our
what does
budget.
that
But we
have-
might be over and under in some accounts.
So what happens to
Okay,
that
that's fine.
11%? Does that become
Yeah.
free cash to the town?
Well, no, so we're gonna spend most of it in June. So whatever is left, then yes, would go to free cash. So I do my darndest. Like if I'm
Yeah.
often buying ebooks or placing a book order at the
Sure.
at like 11:50 on the
Absolutely.
30th,
You have
so that
to.
I get,
Right.
because
Yeah.
if you don't spend it, you lose it.
I know,
And
You don't
then
wanna do
next
that.
year, they'll say you didn't spend, you know.
right,
I think we did not spend 11 grand or so last
Okay.
year. Yeah,
all right.
It's a lot of ebooks.
it is. Yes.
But you need them.
Right.
Yep, they certainly get used, so.
Are you ready to then move on to the 3C FY24 budget, Beth?
Sure,
All right.
nothing has changed since the town meeting vote for FY 24. So I did complete blue sheets by deadline for staff step increases. They may not be implemented until we have a signed union contract, which my understanding is standard, but I got them done,
All right, thank you.
dropped off.
They got dropped off and she said they didn't need them.
Yeah,
Because it's
so
not
that's,
the union contract.
union negotiations start the second week of July, so that's great progress. And the sooner we can get that signed, then the sooner the staff will get those raises. And it will be retroactive, so
Retro to,
retro to July 1st.
okay.
So I budgeted all of the money as if they were getting the raises July 1st, so the money will be there.
Also, we're not going to have a shortfall, that's good.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's budget.
If we do, I'll be crying to you in July to pay bills. But
Sorry, so the union will the employees will officially be in the union starting the second week of July?
they're in the union, so when they signed again, I'm not in the union. My understanding is when they signed their cards in April to join the union, they were in the union and then had
Oh, okay.
union, protection and benefits from that point on, and presumably are paying dues. So now the issue is, what's their union contract look like? And they've spent, a year looking at other things and putting it together. And
So what are we privy to, or what is the public privy to regarding the 2 components? What those benefits are, and then the contract, and who would negotiate that contract? Who are the parties that negotiate that?
the parties are myself and I believe William Blake is going to negotiate with me under Evan's advisement, and Evan also has a union contract lawyer on the town side.
Okay,
And then on the union side, it's a representative from, I believe it is, I hope I don't get this wrong, the Federal Teachers of Massachusetts? Debbie might remember. American Federation of Teachers in Massachusetts is the union that the staff have joined. So they'll have their representative and then 2 staff union stewards, and then I don't know if anyone else from the staff side is going to be joining in with that negotiation. I know staff have been meeting and they've had input. So it's probably 6 people in the room, and as far as I know, it's a closed meeting.
right.
I would assume the union document is public, but I'm not sure. This is all new for me, so I don't have all the answers.
So when is the timing for have you put together a time frame?
So all we've done is agree on a meeting date. It's going to be either the 12th or 13th of July, in the afternoon,
Okay,
and we get to see the document and a presentation at that point.
okay,
I'm interested in moving it forward to get it signed.
okay.
So, but it'll take the time it takes. It seems to be just what's happening. It takes the time it takes to get it together. So,
Did you have any other questions about that?
Just one random one, and I don't want to like derail us too much. So if it's a longer answer than it needs to be, we can talk about it later. But so we had talked about kind of like responsibilities under the union and stuff like that. Do we know if the 3D printer would fall under the purview of their responsibilities, or?
I don't see why it wouldn't. Printing is just a general task that most staff do.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It might come up. It might not. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't know. So Beth, if, we had talked about the discussion of having some of the librarians wanting to be responsible for some of their projects are going to be doing with some of the gardening, the community beds.
Yeah.
Will we find out if that is part of the deal?
So it's probably not in anybody's job description, but programming is. So
Right.
I mean, this gives the staff a lot of power and flexibility if they decide that they want to have a community garden program and run a program or volunteers, then they should be able to do that. But it's not going to say in anyone's description that they're responsible for maintaining library landscaping, because it's currently not in anybody's job description. So I think my understanding is you'd probably have to make a new position if you wanted a staff member to be responsible and paid to take care of it.
No, but what we had talked about is that there was an interest in doing it as a program.
Right.
And
But-
you had said part of that would include weeding, because if you're gardening and
Yeah.
teaching somebody how to garden, you pull weeds,
Yeah.
not on
but-
a regular basis, but, okay, I was just trying to, because we
Yeah.
had some earlier conversations, I just want to make sure I kind of understood that.
Yeah.
Or-
And I don't want to make it sound like it's staff whim, but a little bit, I mean, it is. So staff changeover. If someone is really interested in gardening and then they leave and the person who takes over that position isn't anymore, and it's not in anybody's job, then we'd be scrambling to figure out who's going to take care of and maintain.
Okay,
All right.
okay,
Does that answer your
Yeah.
question?
that did.
All right.
It's really more job description than union contract.
So, any other discussion on the 24 budget? Are you ready to move on to the IT update? What was
Ready to move on.
that? Okay, IT update.
My IT update is while I was in Chicago, I got messages on Monday and Tuesday morning that the doors to the library were unlocked and patrons were able to walk in at 9 a.m. And I don't know why.
Wait, when? When was that?
Monday and Tuesday morning, we open at 10 and people were walking in at 9:30. And when staff checked the doors from the outside, they were locked. So we don't know how they got in the doors when they were locked.
This sounds paranormal.
The ghost
And you were
was on the other
away.
end of the
Right.
building. So I've been taxing our IT contracted IT with helping me with some of the things with the door scheduler and the security system. Jonathan, bless his heart, reads manuals and likes reading manuals and figuring things out. So he's actually been helpful in helping me get a Sunday key card made. So he should be in. I'm going to send him a note and ask if he can help with this. But
So is that one of the main things, or if not the main thing behind the reference to the key issues?
it's one
card-
of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, key cards. We've also experienced like key cards randomly not working. Like staff come to go to work and they scan and they can't get in. And I'm like, it's not a holiday. They shouldn't be locked out. Why is this not working? And the company who installed it wants a lot of money to either have a contract to be on call, but it doesn't mean they come for free.
I
They
think it was a
charge.
ridiculous amount.
Oh my
I think that's the
gosh.
industry term, ridiculous amount of money. It was a lot. Like, wasn't it
It
like
was-
$30,000?
It was $14,000 for the year, and that gives us 3 webinars, or $7,000 for the year and no
7 to
webinars.
14.
But then that just reduces their fee from $315 an hour with a 4-hour minimum and travel expenses
Okay.
to like $200.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get the IT person who we're already paying to help with this. So I'm not. We also have an issue where the clock the computer's connected to, not a physical clock, but like a server clock, will kind of lose time or gain time. So the door's scheduled to open at 10, but it opens at 9:59. and then a month later it opens at 9:58.
So that's, you're saying that's automated?
I can fix that. Yes, I can
Oh,
fix
I
that.
didn't
I've
know
learned
that.
how to fix that.
Okay,
But the randomly opening and then locking again, I have no idea. So I'm still investigating it, and I'm taking my last vacation day tomorrow. I can manually override it from home, so I might do that, and then hope we can get it straightened out. But that's the current IT issue.
okay.
We have laptops ready to go, but I haven't had a conversation with staff yet about how to manage the checkout of the laptops, or if it will become an issue if it's a new task.
We spoke about that at our last meeting, and who was it the RFID? No, there was someone,
Oh, the tag doesn't. Yeah, we can't get a tag that works on them, but
okay,
they're going to be checked out to a person. So if they take it home, it'll be on
Right.
their
Yeah.
card, and we can bill
right,
them.
right,
Just send them a bill.
So that sounds like a good solution.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
okay.
Low tech.
All right. Any other IT issues?
There's an ongoing issue with Biblioteca, which is our automated intake system that I learned about last week when I was working on the desk. Everything is, we have like 85 categories of books at the library, right? And they all have a barcode and a label and a tag. And when you return your item, it reads the tag and then figures out which of the 5 bins that category book should fall into, right? So children's and teen go in one, adult goes in another, media goes in another. Anything going back to another library drops into its own bin. So in theory, we can scoop up those books and put them right in a bin, and then they go out on a truck.
With
for central
confidence
sorting.
that
That they
there's-
are off the patron's card
Okay,
and now have they're coded in delivery and not still on the patron's record. 1 or 2 items a day are not coding as in delivery. So staff are now hand checking all of those in again. So I said, no, you need to talk to Biblioteca and find out why this isn't working. Because for you to hand check in 100, 150 items a day for 1 or 2 mistakes, that's not worth it.
yeah, it's pretty inefficient.
So, yeah, I refrained myself from going and yelling at them when I was at the library conference because they have very poor customer support. We aren't able to
Biblioteca?
get quick responses from Biblioteca, and we paid them a lot of money, and they have a new invoice for $28,000 for FY24 for our check-in and check-out system for support, and they're not very responsive. So,
Is that,
Are they,
and I'm going to, well, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, why did we choose that particular vendor? Were we?
we got 3 quotes for public procurement, and they came in as low bidder, and they were who installed the system. So when I don't get responses from the technical services people, I go right to my salesperson, and I call or email him, and then he bumps us up.
Now, how
it
long
shouldn't be like
a contract is it?
So we have a service agreement every year, but it's proprietary, so I'm pretty sure like we can't just switch vendors or software. now we have
That was
all
my
the-
question, and maybe I'll put
Yes.
Aaron on the spot.
Yeah.
I think you're the
could have
tech
it.
guy, right, Aaron? I mean,
Sure, God.
you're probably familiar with this more than I am, certainly. As far as vendors and yeah, there's a lot of times there's these proprietary roadblocks that they build in that you're basically stuck with them even if you may not be happy with the service level.
Yeah, so what I find with, and I haven't worked in public sector before, but what I find is that once these vendors have you, they have you, right? And there's very specific vendors that, and this may not be particular with the check-in, check-out system, but you've mentioned that there's other like certain vendors that the town uses you're kind of stuck with, and you maybe end up paying more, but that's who they currently use. But in the private sector, like if there's a lot more choice, I think. But unless if the equipment is not proprietary, then potentially you could switch support vendors, but not likely. I think it's very kind of specialized. The core components, though, you may be able to salvage and then replace whatever is very specific to that vendor, right?
Yeah.
So is it that each library has is it CW Mars that's purchasing this and we pay into C? So how does this integrate with the other library systems
So-
in transit in and out?
If other library, the transit piece doesn't so much matter because they're looking at barcodes essentially.
Okay,
Where it matters is like we're not one central library with 343 branches, right, for every Massachusetts town, and even within the network there's 158, but there's a little bit of variety for what systems people use. I think Worcester is also 3M, which means if you bring a Worcester book back, you don't have to scan the barcode. You just feed it in, and it'll read the Worcester RFID code and put it in the delivery bin, and it knows it's going to Worcester.
do we have a dedicated rep, like aside from sales rep?
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's the sales reps that you have to nudge
Yeah.
to get the proper service level. Do we have a service rep too, or do we have to go
There-
through our sales rep?
There is one who we prefer to call, and it's Ali Paconi, who works as a senior library associate in borrower services, who's been very interested in the system and taken the lead in documenting and calling and trying to keep it up and running.
No, but as far as on the vendor.
So yeah,
Stop.
yeah. So she has like Victor's cell phone number.
Oh, okay.
She's
All right.
out. She's out.
Okay, so
But
hopefully this is just a blip.
we're keeping an eye on it
Okay.
because I'm not
All right.
happy.
Are you cautiously optimistic that this will resolve itself in the near future?
I think it's just a coding issue, but it needs to be corrected, and
Right.
also I needed to know.
Right.
So and not have found out from staff that they had to change what they were
Right.
doing, their workflow essentially, because something wasn't working.
Because it sounds like it's creating significant inefficiencies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so have you been given any assurance in any fashion, or have you not had that discussion that of an ETA on this, that if it is a coding issue, I can't imagine that this is the first time they've dealt with coding issues.
Yeah, it should be an easy correct. Again, like I'm just coming back from a conference,
Okay.
and then Allie, who's taken the lead, is also out. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you know when you'll next be in contact with the vendor, either directly or indirectly?
I can follow up on Friday.
All right.
So may I make a suggestion? You may want to see if the town can leverage the IT company a bit more. What I find, because I work in banking, and I kind of, there's some correlations here, but just excuse me for trying to make some incorrect correlations. So a banker is there to service a customer, very much
Sorry.
very much like a librarian would
Yeah.
be, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we don't make bankers or tellers, we don't make them work with vendors to get IT support, right? Because if they're working with the vendors trying to fix something, then they're not servicing a customer, right? So that's why I
not
think
good.
if we could take a different approach and see if we can leverage more of IT services. I don't know if it's just a big cost expense for the town or for us, the library.
Yeah.
But, let them become the experts. And then they don't have to call the vendor the next time.
Now,
We only have
who-
IT once a week.
I know, so I'm
So
wondering if
that's a big
we could
problem.
find a way to.
So is William your contact, or is it Evan? And then I know we have an IT committee, but we don't have an IT department per se, do we?
No,
Okay.
no. So it was when I need help, I send a ticket that goes to Cindy Ide, and then she forwards it to CMD, the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Although I have Jonathan's email, and he's our primary contact from CMD, and has been
So
very.
Aaron, are you maybe suggesting that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe someone in the TA's office, either Evan or William, be a point of contact to kind of nudge them? Is that what you're saying, or who would it come from?
Well, I guess I didn't know that you had to send it to Cindy and then they send it to the tech support. So I'm wondering if the town can leverage more. Like, I'll give you an example of a slightly better situation. Shrewsbury hired their own IT person. Shrewsbury Library. The library did,
Oh, wow.
not the town.
Wow.
I forget who I was speaking with, but she's like, yeah, my husband just got hired, to work IT for the Shrewsbury Library. And they're similarly sized now. But I can't imagine like a full time IT person working for our library. That'd be fantastic. But I think I'd like to see more like direct IT services for our library. Not necessarily hiring somebody, but
Right. And the other thing is, I mean, we have the, I'm sure we have the ability and the not the leverage, that's not the word I'm searching for, but the way in which we sometimes regionalize services, either like on a contract basis, that if we do find other towns that are using the same system, maybe reach out and find out what IT, if there's internal IT people in any of those towns that we could reach out to and maybe help us. So to your point, Aaron, even if it may not be internal, maybe there could be a way we could seek the assistance of another CWMRS municipality that may have an internal IT.
I
If they use the same system.
Well,
really
like you
good
mentioned,
idea.
Worcester uses the same
I think
system,
they do,
right?
yeah.
All right.
So if, I mean,
might be
that's, you know, that would be a great resource to
Yeah.
reach out to see what they,
Are
you know,
you in
because-
contact with them? And-
I can be, yeah, I know the director.
Okay,
because my
That may
concern would
be-
be,
Yeah.
it's such a specialized software system
Right.
that, like, you know, the CMD services, like, they're probably helping with laptops and
Yeah.
networks and stuff, but they can't know everything, you know, so. But,
I mean, are we of a consensus
also-
that that seems like the next best
Yeah.
step to maybe reach out
Yeah.
to Worcester to see?
yeah, I think so.
This-
But to make it clear, like if there's a coding issue, like our staff or even town IT can't go into
Right.
3M system and
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
recode things for us.
Yeah.
Right.
All they can do is make the initial phone call or ticket to
Yes.
their tech support, to the vendor's tech support.
Right, but somebody still has to interface with the vendor.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm suggesting.
Good
It
idea.
probably shouldn't
Take
be
it
a
off.
librarian unless you
Right.
can allocate time with your staff to do that.
Right.
But the problem is we don't have, do we have IT people on staff and the municipal center that can help us?
No,
No,
well,
so
it's all outsourced.
we can't help it. I mean, we're kind of stuck between a hard and a, like, we gotta do it, right?
Right.
Won't get done.
Allie's actually really good at it.
She is.
They respond to her pretty
And
well.
I want to say, like, we gave her a promotion and extra pay for doing that work because of the initiative that she took to deal with it.
Awesome.
So I also we'd give her something else to do. We wouldn't demote.
So are we agreed upon about
Yeah.
what the next step is as far as contacting? It's just, this is one of those things
Mm-hmm.
that it sounds like it's creating a major inefficiency, and it's not something I would like to see delayed in any way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So is she going to be back, or?
Not until next week. She's had a death in the family.
Oh, okay.
So, but like I said, I can follow up with the ticket on Friday and figure out what the timeline is. Maybe it's been fixed
So,
in my
so does that mean that it does or does not necessitate reaching out to someone in Worcester who uses the same system, and maybe?
so because they're not going to get like. There's limited support that another library can provide to a different
Right.
municipality.
Well, when you
know?
did the ticket, who does the ticket go to?
So, we would do one direct to the vendor that we need help with
Oh, okay.
Biblioteca,
Okay.
as opposed to say me doing a ticket to IT to say contact the vendor. We need help with this issue.
So
That's just
are you
further
okay with
removed.
the
I get it.
current staffing as it is to do this manually for the next week?
We're going to have to be. I mean,
Okay.
there's not an alternative.
Okay,
Yeah, and I don't know how long they've been doing this manually.
okay. All right. Any other IT updates?
No.
All right. Everyone okay with, all right. Then we'll hold off on Worcester contact and cross our fingers that the manual approach until this gets fixed is sufficient.
And Beth's gonna contact them on Friday.
On Friday,
So
yeah.
hopefully,
I'll follow
like.
up.
You have
and-
the
and
person's
do you-
name.
Do you have Victor's
Oh,
cell
yeah,
phone
yeah, I
number?
do.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, like
You have to just drop Ally's name and say,
I know, right? Yeah.
All right, moving on, Grafton Public Library Capital Campaign update, Dana.
Yes, so I will give it. Okay, so we're finalizing a lot of things and we're very excited. So one of the great things is that we are, we're planning the donor party and we've finally settled on a date. It's October 14th, which is Saturday at 6:30 p.m. at the library. The library does close at 6, so we'll have access to the full library and it should be great. And so we've contacted donors via email and also phone calls. And so it looks like almost everyone can make it.
Yes.
So we're excited about that. So we're organizing the entire event. So right now we have a caterer that we signed a contract with, or we're about to do that. So the date is solid. So that's good news, and it's going to be a blast. We feel like we need to celebrate here at the library because we've struggled with a lot of things. It's a new building, and these things often happen. We've had some surprises along the way and some hiccups, but
What
I
day of
think
the week is
everybody's
that?
ready.
What day of the
Saturday.
week?
It's a Saturday.
Saturday night.
So, it's for all
Mark it down
donors.
there.
So we'll be doing
Party shoes.
email, we've done emails, save the date, and then we'll do, we'll have printed invitations, and we'll also do other emails.
Awesome.
And all donors are gonna be invited.
All donors are invited, so it's a lot of library staff, which I did send a special email out to them, because I want them to come. And I told them, you're supposed to come and have fun, and we will have a lot of, I mean, we're not gonna have to, it'll be great, I mean, we won't have to be doing a lot of work. There'll be some very short presentations, if that, and I'm hoping to have some entertainment as well.
Awesome.
So-
1 day beer and wine license?
Yes, and the wonderful thing is the caterer is taking care of that, and they have $1 million liability that they're taking care of. They have the insurance.
Right.
So that's all taken care of. And we also did tell them, please double check, because they do have their own licenses, but we have asked them.
Okay.
So I just might
All that
reiterate
tip, all
that.
that tip certified stuff and,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that-
definitely.
yeah,
It's
they're
a really
all
great
gonna be-
caterer.
yeah.
Pepper's
Awesome.
Artful Event. So they're the one, they can make the date, and that's really what drove it, and they've been great to work with, so.
Awesome.
We're pretty excited about it, so that's been done. That took a little while, but it's gonna be fun, because we're gonna make our own floral arrangements and things like that. I got a little bit experience doing that at Beth's wedding. So now that I know how to do it, there's a group of us that are gonna try to do that, and we're gonna make it themed, so we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
All right.
And there's some things that we can use here, which is great. We have 2 high top tables that we have to ask the friends if we may use those, and then we have other tables that are in the community room that are really great for serving. So that's taken care of. So.
And the China.
Well, we thought about using the china. We think that we're not 100% sure if we're going to do that, but we found out we have our own china.
So
Yeah,
I will
crafted
speak,
life.
I will speak with my wife, Lori. Lori's gonna kill me for volunteering her time, but, without
Oh, I know,
asking-
she knows.
She owned the flower shop. She's a florist for
That's right. Okay.
a couple decades, so,
Well, we're going to do some things that we're
Yeah.
not going to say right now, but
Yeah.
it's going to try to go in with a theme, so maybe she can help us.
Yeah.
Because we kind of want people to come in and go, oh, all right, that makes sense.
so,
Trying to
yeah.
have some fun with it. That'd be good. I'll let her
Yeah,
know
she's
about
pretty
it.
creative
'Cause-
that way.
Oh, yeah.
She can wow,
Okay.
she'll wow you as far as some of the stuff she comes
Oh,
up with.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, she could help us then if
Oh.
we buy that, because we're going to buy our own flowers is
All
what we
right.
thought we'd do.
All right.
So she can help us. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
She can probably teach us all how to do it.
She has her own, we have our own floral workstation in our basement. It's kind of crazy. This is portion of the basement that is,
We might be hanging out
Yeah.
there for a while.
yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you, Roger. We're pretty excited about that. And everyone's been so generous with their time and effort and support. So we really want to thank the community at large, and that's what we're going to do. So that's great. The other things we've been working on, we're trying to really kind of close out our list. So we have been ordering some furniture, as you may have seen. You saw the patio sets, and we had a lot of volunteers that helped, so we appreciate that. So we're going to continue. We have some more to put together. We're going to do that.
That
We did
looks
this-
fantastic, by the way. I saw that on, I think, both Facebook and Instagram. And, yeah, that area is really looking nice.
And we also put together those benches
Oh, yeah,
that
it
we
was
had
your-
ordered.
One of your posts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot of, like Doug and I, and Doug and my son and a couple other people Doug and my son did the benches. And then the patio was a group of a lot of supporters. And a lot of women who have their own toolkits.
Dawn brought her
Liz Spinney came with hers, and Dawn
you go.
Anderson, and it was really cool. And my son helped a bit, and so did Doug, and I think Carrie did too.
I did, yeah.
So now there's a little bit left more that I'm going to try to get my son to help with Doug.
Yeah,
It's
there's
not a
8
lot.
chairs left.
So it's
but
not
all
a
the
whole lot.
tables are together.
So we're going to see how that works. And we have we also ordered, we'll be having others, there's going to be other components of the for the team patio that are coming, the chess sets, the chess tables and all that. So that's going to come. And so we've also ordered other items for the amphitheater. We're going to have musical mushrooms and musical butterflies and a tenor tree, which is all part of a donor gifts. So that's going to be around the amphitheater.
Yeah, the amphitheater.
So.
Some exciting stuff.
So it's a lot of exciting stuff. And then we're also updating, we're kind of, now that the gardens have been planted, some of the things we've discovered, we're sort of tweaking and moving some plants that were planted in areas that they'd be better suited for maybe shade. So we're kind of moving things around. You'll see that, and we're mulching it to keep it going. And then, I've learned a lot about native plants. True native plants will take over. So when we have that, we have to kind of do a little bit of weeding. And Christine, there's Christine Chipotle.
yeah.
She's been wonderful. She's our lead gardener. I hope she's hearing this because she's been fantastic. And it's been great because the Peralt Nursery is doing a lot the work for us.
Right.
So we do a lot of collaboration with her and all of us. So anybody wants to help weed, she is doing a lot. I know John has gotten some Boy Scouts to help. I also was going to ask that I really need with native plants. One reason why we planted them was for the LEED certification. Plus, they provide there's more insect life than a non-native, so it's a really good habitat. So what we've been told is that the first couple of years you do have to water them, then you shouldn't have to really do much watering. We'll see if that's reality. I hope it is. So we're kind of in the first year, but we've had to replant some things. They died. So for the next kind of year to 3 years, we're going to have to, the next 2 years at least, we're going to have to be watering. So I really do need help in that. So if there's any trustee that would like to take that on as a project and get people to help, I would appreciate it. Because right now, Doug and I we're kind of like trying to get all these projects finalized, and they are going to be within the next couple of weeks. They're going to be moving plants and planting new plants.
So one night a few weeks back, I spent over an hour doing the whole watering thing, and the hose in that patio
Right.
was very helpful. Not having to go back and forth with the bucket to really water things. So I noticed that there's water outlets on each side of the building, but I didn't see hoses on each side, like in the front and on the teen room emergency exit side closest to.
I will talk to Doug about that because we might have more, or we'll purchase them because we're going to need it. So I'll talk to him. And I know we have some sprinklers.
Yeah.
Too.
There also, when we were there putting together the tables and chairs, I think it was locked, because Doug couldn't get into it, so, it was that Sunday.
Is it on a Sunday?
It was on a Sunday.
We can't get
I mean, the
access to.
building's locked, so,
We have to go inside to get the keys. That's the way that
yeah.
Beth has explained to us that DPW says we have to work.
So we can't water on Sundays, we
We
have to
can't.
work around that.
If we happen to buy our own keys, would that work?
I can, I mean, I can find out what the key is.
I think it's a standardized.
Well, not
thing.
Probably,
unless one trustee is allowed to be given a key.
It's not a key to the building, it's.
No, I mean a
water,
key to
so-
the reason why, I guess they're afraid of people stealing water, I don't know. But I mean, if we have one trustee that could do that, that could have it so that others could come, because if it's a really hot day, you might need to water on Sunday, to be honest.
Right.
Even though, because
Yeah,
Because there
maybe
was
we
no-
could
there
talk
was no way
about that.
that one hose was going to then suffice to fill the buckets and then.
So
go
that's
around
what you were
front.
doing, the
I was
buckets?
going back and
Well,
forth.
thank
I
you.
was like,
Well, I'll talk to Doug. We'll get some.
Okay.
We'll get some right away. I'll talk to him. Between us, we'll
because that
we'll get
one
some.
length of hose on that side of the building can pretty much water that whole side. But then you come around front and you would need to use a hose on that front
Right,
side and then
okay.
another on
Right.
that.
Was there a hose is there a hose like where the old part of the building is facing the common?
Yes.
Okay. So it's really the side, that's really the gardens that face Upton Street that we need a hose for.
But no, what I'm saying is you need two hoses, one that's facing South Street and one that's facing Upton 140. In
Oh,
other words,
okay.
I think that
Well, that's
it
what I
wouldn't
mean.
be
the
long
front.
enough to reach around
Oh,
the
okay.
building.
So there isn't one I thought, there's no hose out, like, where the benches are in the bench circle in
I
the
did
front?
not see
Okay.
one.
All right, so we need
I've been
two more
known to
hoses?
miss things.
Okay,
Ask my
no,
wife. It's
I'll ask, I'll tell.
could be right in front of me, but
No,
no,
I'll
I don't recall.
Okay.
The
We'll get
hose
'em.
being there.
We'll
So,
get them like right away.
Yeah.
Between Doug and I, we'll get them, because we need to do it. Because once they start planning,
Yeah.
we have to do that.
Because sometimes you just really watering with a bucket. You
No,
really
no,
need
you
to
shouldn't have
soak
to do
some of
that. I
those,
didn't know you did that.
It was just. So,
No.
all right.
So if things look messy, they're going to get better. And there's some areas of the garden that we're working on and going to be doing some transplanting and stuff like that. We're also going to work on the community bed area. I've talked with Beth about that, and we're kind of brainstorming. We think we've come up with a couple solutions, but we want to, I think, talk about it a little bit more.
Okay.
And then that will be improved. So the goal is to try to get this all done within the next month or two.
Awesome.
And I think we can do that. We're going to try to do some fall planting in the community beds, because we can plant pumpkins and other stuff.
Awesome.
So that's what we've been
Talking
working
about,
on.
like, where the granite is, like. that-
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
All right.
So you're going to see a lot of work being done, but it'll, it's all good stuff.
It's
It's to
exciting
basically
stuff.
make things more efficient and so that the gardens can be less maintenance as we go on. But they are gonna require some maintenance, so hopefully as time goes on, we'll probably get more volunteers that will wanna help, because they are gonna get,
Yeah, count me
they're
in.
getting, they're gonna get, as time goes on, there should, I don't know if there'd be less work, but they are gonna be getting more filled up.
Right, right.
So,
Awesome.
but thank you, everybody, that's, helped. So if anybody wants to help with the,
Well, thank you, Dana.
with the watering, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Yeah,
Okay.
count me in. We can,
Okay.
I can.
And we,
know
well,
my-
if everybody can help out, that would be
I think
good.
that
So
would
if
be
you
great
can
if
contact
everybody-
Roger,
it's
we
not
should
just
all
all on
help.
one-
I mean, I will
one
try to do
person.
some too, but
Right.
even if it's just a day here or
Yeah,
there.
we could maybe like pick days or assign, have a schedule that would.
Yeah, and you know what I'll do is I will find out exactly when the planting is, because that's when we're really gonna have to do it.
Okay, and we've been lucky this past week with all.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a lot of rain
Yeah,
today,
we
3
had a
hours.
little
worth.
breather, yeah, torrential.
But anyway, that's pretty much, we've been doing, there's other little projects that we're completing, working with Beth, and some of them seem like they're mundane, but they need to be done, so we're helping.
Well, I can think of one big thing that you you had so many things to talk about, but we did have, we did get to pull down a sheet, right?
Carrie's on the committee. Why don't you Carrie, why don't you
So
talk about that?
So this is not, is
This
this
is
a,
no, this is capital.
still
campaign,
capital.
so
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
capital
there's
campaign.
just so much. It's
I'm
like,
just- I'm just-
she's just doing so much. You can't keep
my
track
other-
of all
at
of it.
the,
Like
at the risk of, yeah, I'm just, if I go like this, I'm like, what the, I'm just trying to move this
I'll
along.
be quick.
Okay, she can be quick. This is pretty
So,
big.
'Cause I haven't known to
okay,
talk
so hopefully we're gonna also, with this address, like, complaints about the ugly gray sheet that was hanging in the lobby. But the donor appreciation wall has been unveiled. It is absolutely incredible.
Looks fantastic.
So it's the whole idea. So Dana worked very closely with our local artist Sarah Bezier and with Sunshine Signs to design just this incredibly beautiful, colorful donor wall. You won't see anything else like it. You see it anywhere
it
else.
looks
It's
great.
original
Not a
artwork.
Have you been
boring
up there?
old wall with just names on it. It's a beehive, and names are all over it. And there's no like
It's all
every
random.
donor's on there, and it's all random. So it's not like a big one for the big donor. Like it's gorgeous. And then there are specific named areas throughout the library. And so if somebody donated for a bench or for a room, there is a plaque dedicated to them. And each one of them has the name of the donor, but it has an individually designed flower. They're beautifully colorful and just lovely. So, and it just really, the whole theme of the library with the children's room. We have like our wooded, forest.
That's
kind of
right.
theme.
Yeah, it all
So
works together.
and we have our beautiful woods. Abutting the property. So, it just really kind of carries that theme and just the whole
Yeah.
community theme. So we're just so thrilled about it. So we hope everybody goes and checks it out and sees
looks
and
great.
appreciates. And it just really brightens up that front desk area behind our librarian receptionist when you come into the
I
library.
like it. I like it.
So we still have some, still have like window seats that are available. A couple. Beth has pointed that out to me.
Okay.
There's one in administration and one in her office.
How much is the
Josie's
donation
bench.
amount for them?
She doesn't have any money.
Yeah,
You
about
bet.
that.
Okay. All right, thank
But
you.
and we appreciate everybody it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you've given, we
Yeah,
appreciate it. And everybody
who donated,
has
and
been
there's
really.
still some spots available. So
Yeah.
if you want your name in the
Yeah,
bag,
and if anyone donated that we don't know of, because there were some people that went down to Unibank and just gave money.
yeah, it's a anonymous
There's a
donation.
few of those, but we try, every person that we knew of, their name is on there. So if someone finds out there's someone not, please let me know.
Sure. All right.
So
thank
anyway, that's,
you. All right.
so.
Moving on to friends.
So I will be quick with the friends. So, so for
Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome, thank you.
so as we talked about, thank you, Dana, and Dana, thank you for all the hard work. I mean, really incredible job. So for friends, we had our annual meeting at our library. Thank you, Beth, for coming, and Debbie. So it was Dana, thank you for coming as well. It was so it was a very nice annual meeting. So as we talked about previously, the next big event for the Friends is going to be the book sale in September. A notice will go out to ask for collections of or donations of books. So 2 weeks before, and then it'll be held in conference rooms A and B, like we've done before. Again, the Friends. It was very helpful, Beth, actually, during the meeting that you provided the list of all the different memberships that the $10,000 a year that the Friends do, you normally contribute to the library, funds. So that's great, and that's above and beyond the 100,000 that was given to the capital campaign, as well. And the next meeting of the Friends is Tuesday, July 25th. So I'm going to attend the meeting, and we certainly welcome other trustees, to join as well. We do, of course, have to be careful about quorum.
Right.
But if we had, up to 3
Right.
trustees, then that's no problem.
Right.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I get clarification on what time is the meeting and then what are the dates for the book sale?
So the meeting is on, the meeting is at 7:30. It's gonna be via Zoom, and that's the standard time. And then the book sale is,
First weekend after
it's,
school.
see, I have it in my calendar. It's so it's actually gonna be, September 9th and 10th, and then, the 2 weeks before, like that Monday before, the last week of August, that week, we'll start collecting the books. So we'll be getting the room. Well, the Friends will be getting the room,
Yeah.
ready with
The
volunteers.
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right,
So
awesome,
thank you.
awesome. All right, the walkabout, John Babrisky, but that's through,
Yep.
yeah, so.
So there's 76 pictures.
Oh my
Don't
gosh!
don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. We'll go through it really
Oh,
quick.
no.
I thought I took a lot of pictures
I
of the
swear-
library.
Oh, shoot.
And none are up.
I'm in
John
trouble
Hall,
now,
which
right?
is Perfect.
I'm just gonna,
I'm teasing.
I'm going to not even, I'm just gonna shut my mouth.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and ask people to speak judiciously, that's all.
Okay.
I just.
All right,
yeah.
so click into the picture, and then we can just go through it like a slideshow. So some of these basically have 2 pictures. There's that wider shot just to show you where it is with the circle, and then there's a zoom like this one right here. So I'm guessing that's some sort of flashing that's there with those 2 sides, and I realize it kind of looks kind of weird as well. It doesn't, like, if you told me this was on the old building, I would be like, okay, but that's on the new part, and it looks kind
Can you
of
go
weird.
back out to the.
I wonder
front
if,
view again?
it's too bad
Yeah.
Doug's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
guess
that's
if you're really looking for it, absolutely. I mean, but generally you wouldn't notice.
Oh.
You can use my charger.
So the question is that it could be faulty? Is that it?
Cool.
sorry, what was that?
Is the question that it might be faulty?
So I just thought there's like 2 parts, I think, on one on each side that are kind of sticking out.
Okay.
And then I'm commenting on the overall look of it. It just looking a little odd, for it being on the new building. So,
Yeah, it does.
yeah. So it looks like it does need a little bit of touching up or whatever. Next one, there's a bird nest there. That's it.
Leave that alone.
Oh, I did see that. I'm sorry. I did see that. I'm sorry.
I know.
Sure, John.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
did see it.
birds poop, so might want to get it removed. Next one.
The problem is, Beth, who does all
Keep
this?
going.
Woo!
Please advise me. Whose job is that?
Is a trustee allowed
We
to
have
do
a
it?
hose, right?
We're not using the hose on the bird nest.
I will.
Leave the bird
I mean,
alone.
I'd be happy to go and look and make sure there's no bird eggs in there. If there isn't, then I can go take it down maybe next time I'm there.
All right.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can go to the next one. I think this was just a picture of the new chargers because I noticed, I looked over and I was like, hey, they look all straight up and down now. So
Thank you.
that's great.
Awesome.
Yay.
Next, I happened to notice the plaques in the garden. And I was gonna take a picture of all of them, but I didn't want to like steal your thunder, Dana. So there's a couple of pictures of the ones that are on the outside, but
Do you want me to explain that one? Because I think that's really important, the one you're looking at now, very quickly. Okay, so the reason why we have that plaque is really to thank the Perrault family, because the reason why we do have our new expanded library, it's on, the Perraults own the land. that it's now, that we built our new library on and had the parking lot, and we're also Cassie Brown made that, the path through the woods. So, we came up with we thought, well, we should say thank you to them. So Joe Peralt and his sister worked on the copy, and it's really a dedication to their mom, which is Rose Peralt, because she's the one that was around when she was negotiated with Hank Puller at the time, and the monies had been set aside by the town, and all the people in the town at a town meeting, we say there was money set aside for the negotiation. So we just wanted to thank Joe and his family, and time goes on, we want people to kind of know.
Very
So
generous people.
that was that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, right by the rose bush.
And
It's lovely.
they told me that I guess the family members came and looked at it and really loved it. And
That's
she
awesome.
loved roses, so that's why we had the rose bush, although it's not,
Beach rose.
it's not native, but,
All right.
so,
Thank you, Dana.
you're welcome.
Yeah, so there's this weird overhang looking thing there. I don't know.
But what do you mean?
So it's not a shadow. It's like, is that caved in?
Oh,
It-
that
Indented?
part, oh.
Do you think that plant, you mean?
No.
No,
I'm
the
sorry.
brick,
the,
The brick.
Oh my
brick.
God.
Yeah. No, I think it's something that's sticking out, and I really don't know if it's like the mortar or you'll see there's like some other parts where there's like a metal bar over some of the windows that is kind of protruding a little
that's
bit.
good.
I don't think it's a big deal, but I figured I'd just point it out. Same thing with this gutter. I thought it was rusted, but it looks, if you go to the next one, like this is the zoom shot, and then, yeah. There's like a patina on it, I think, so I don't think that's a
Okay.
big deal, but
Great.
I just included it.
I think they're
Excellent
copper
work.
and they're supposed to do that. But I'm
Yeah, that's when I looked closer, I was like, okay, that looks like it's just like a weathering kind of thing.
That we did
This
have
is the other
copper
one,
part of it.
not-
the other window.
Oh.
This is like the teen room side of the building. You can see this one's a slightly more concerning because there's almost like a gap between that. Looks like that there's like a metal plate and the brick on the bottom side of that one.
Yeah.
Probably not a huge deal, but I don't know. You probably don't want to get bugs and things to get in there over time. But
So, John, as you kind of go through the rest of these, would you make sure that you touch base with Doug to just so that you get his perspective to make sure that there's no concerns here? Because I think what you're showing us is really great, but he may say, "Oh yeah, that's just this or that's just that," or actually, "Wow, I didn't notice
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
a big concern for us." You know.
okay. Yeah, and I don't know if they've been like this, right? Like if they've been like this and they're intended to be like this, like it's probably a non-issue. So, but I can check with Doug about them. All right, next one. So this one is an issue, I think. It's a minor one, kind of, but there's a missing piece of trim.
Oh.
So the bottom of that window. So if you go to the next one, you can see it kind of looks like there's a missing piece on the bottom there. If you go to the next picture, it'll show you what it's supposed to look like. See how there's that there.
yeah.
So just a missing piece of trim, it looks like. I assume it's supposed to look like the other one.
Yeah.
Excellent work on your part, John.
Thanks.
I have to compliment you at this point
Yeah.
as to how
Thank you.
yeah,
We're not
how
done yet.
observant you are. All right,
It's
let's
fantastic.
All right. So next one.
I don't have my mouse today. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
There we go.
So I think this, Carrie, maybe you mentioned this a little bit about like leaking in the teen room. I assume that's what it was, right?
It was the door, though. It wasn't. I don't think this is where it was coming.
Yeah. So there's more pictures to it, but
Yeah.
you basically see you can.
Oh, yeah.
If you go back one, sorry, you can see the splash up against the concrete foundation. Sorry, the next.
Another one with the spout.
There we go. There we go. So here, yeah, you can see where it looks like the mulch got pool, like there's a pool of water, and to me, the mulch being kind of splashed against the concrete indicates that there was that pool and there's water coming down outside of that gutter. So we
It should
can
be like a drain.
Well,
there.
I think what it's supposed to be is that it may all stem from a singular issue, which we'll see in a minute here. But so let's keep going.
Okay.
Next one, there's a stone missing from that part of the stone wall.
We're working on that. I talked to Doug about that.
Okay, cool.
I might have the piece in my office.
That's what I'm looking
People-
for because
people
I
bring
thought
me
I
pieces
found
of
it.
the wall.
It was on my desk.
Okay, because we need that.
All right,
There's another piece too that we have to
Like a
fix.
puzzle.
okay, great.
And I think it was just where we're not really
Scavenger
sure.
hunt.
Okay. Yeah, so that's another spot right by I think that's the teen door.
Yeah.
So that's another spot where, again, it looks like water's been pooling.
Yeah.
And then if we keep going,
Oh, boy.
so this gutter was actually had running water on the outside of it. And this was, I think, a full day or so after it had rained.
Yeah.
Also, there's a stick in the gutter. Like you can see, there's like a piece of
Yep.
lumber or something up there. And so
God.
I think that either all the downspouts from that gutter, it may be connected to that very first picture we saw with the gutters. Either they're all clogged or something, because in theory, water's just sitting in there and it's actually coming down. You can kind of see in this picture, it's coming down on the outside. So there's actually a minor leak right there on that seam where the downspout connects to the gutter. And that's how it's getting
You
through
should
to the
be a
outside.
detective, John. This is
Maybe.
excellent. I know.
Yeah. So
Oh my
All
God,
right.
so we have to figure out how we're gonna fix all this.
Well, we clean the gutters.
The
or
gutter,
the gutter
people came out
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yesterday? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Was
get,
there a lot of stuff?
I wasn't there.
Okay.
the report I got was it was clogged and now it's not clogged.
Oh, okay.
okay, that's good.
So in the old building, they came once a year, and that was sufficient. So it sounds like we may need quarterly or more frequently gutter cleaning.
Yeah.
I got a quick question, and is there ever a situation where some kid or adult with a drone could look and see without actually sending someone up on a ladder?
That's a
We
great
could
idea.
actually see
Goodbye, library drone.
the library drone.
I have neighbors that would probably bring their.
No,
dogs
seriously,
over.
because then we wouldn't have to send
Yeah.
anyone up on a ladder, and we could actually inspect and
Great idea.
see along.
John could go and
All right.
really check
The
everything.
next
have a
next
drone?
walkabout, right?
Yeah.
Can we
go.
3D
No.
print the window trim, please?
That's,
Oh,
whoa,
That's kind of a big piece, but I think you can just use regular wood. That's
I think,
people think of a lot of crazy ideas for 3D printing when you're like, no, just go buy the lumber and cut it. It's okay. That might be it right there, actually. Now that I think about it.
So,
I think,
moving forward.
yeah,
Yeah. So if we go to the next one,
That's
next.
for water coming down.
Yeah. This I think this was just another picture of kind of the garden and the plaque that was there on this side. I don't know who this one was for. Maybe you know, Dana.
Spinney family.
yes, it was the
that's
Spinney
pretty
family.
Okay. All right. So next one. So we have this, I think, some sort of electrical box thing. This is on the Upton Street side, again, right next to the teen room area. I noticed it looks like there's supposed to be a plant maybe on that corner, and then some of the other ones aren't looking great. So I don't know if that's in your plan already.
That's in our plan.
Yeah.
All right.
We're taking care of that.
Awesome.
Okay.
This is just a wide shot of that side of the building.
Oh,
And that's some of the, is that some of the new
Looks
patio
excellent.
ones? There's more, there's another table and chairs there now.
Yep.
too.
And then there's, I think there you said there's some on the other side as well. right?
Yes, yep.
Yep.
And then there's 8 more chairs that need to be assembled. The chairs are the hardest part.
Okay. All right. Next. This is just more pictures. Next. So we still
Oh,
have this
yes.
thing on the old. This is on the old building. Part of the part of the building that was from the old building.
Isn't the historical, doesn't that?
Beth has an answer to that.
So yeah, there was a light. It was like 6-sided, or I think 6-sided, and it came with us to St. Andrews, and I do not have it anymore on site. So I don't know where it went or why it didn't go back.
That's a shame.
Oh, so we lost it?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe maybe another time we can talk about if we want to get it replaced or
We have
something.
Yeah,
pictures.
replace
we
the
could certainly.
fixture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was-
just completely replace the fixture.
Yeah, it was just a thin copper, but it was the same color green, because it was aged.
Okay, so.
And there's
is
not
it-
a light there that I think is functional, but
Okay.
Oh, so it would
so it's
be,
purely decorative. It's
it's
not actually a
decorative,
door.
okay.
anymore.
I think we can probably consider removing it. Because that door I think used to be one of the entrances to
Yeah.
the children's room, but
It's not,
Right.
it's not an entrance anymore, so there's
Right.
really no point in having a light.
yeah.
Does that door even work?
No, because this is actually the electrical room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It still gets shoveled. Like people shovel up to it.
Well, it's there in case
Because
of
it looks-
emergency, right?
No, it's a window. It's now a window because the floor is way below grade. So you would have walked in and then gone down a staircase and then into the children's room.
I thought
But
one
they
of those
took
doors
that
was
out,
operational
so-
in case of an
No,
emergency.
it's a window.
Okay.
So you
The next time
literally
you're in, I'll
can't
show
open
you.
that door.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, moving
I
forward.
must,
Alright,
I got
so
that
next.
wrong then.
So that's,
Just a close up of it next. It just looks really weird right now, but
Yeah.
this window kind of looked open
there's a screen.
on this. No, that like the storm window on the outside, I think, looked kind of open, and I tried to adjust it, but I couldn't. So I don't think it's a big deal because there's still like that interior window.
Yeah.
It's really this exterior storm window, I think. So
So this is the teen librarian's office, and I had opened the window because it doesn't have its own HVAC control. You cannot moderate the temperature in that room. You have to you're solely dependent on the temperature of the makerspace, and that's a public thermostat that's locked. So-
that's to the right of that door, though.
Yeah,
Oh, but
that's
that is
the teen librarian's office. So it could be that that's also yeah. That I'm pretty sure it's the teen librarian's office because it's the only
Okay.
open window. But it was
I
so
think it
hot.
is.
I tried to open it to get some fresh air in. This was a while ago. I
Okay.
can close it so it's uniform, but it should be noted that there are no controls for her office to moderate the temperature,
Okay.
nor for the children's librarian, head of the children's room.
Could that be modified?
I mean, I keep asking and they don't do it. So
What?
the building program specifies.
Let me ask you, how
We should
far
talk
are
about
we
that
into the
offline.
72 right now? I'm just trying to.
I want to say we're like 2/3 of the way through. I
Okay.
think that was a lot of it, so we can just keep going.
All right.
I think this storm window might just be open all the way.
Okay.
I think so. Again, maybe just put it down if we're able
Okay.
to. We can skip. That's just a picture of a plaque. This tree doesn't look so good. Dana, you're probably on that.
I am on that.
Okay. That spot that's circled, there's like a thing sticking out from those, I don't know what you would call them, but those little bumps, those ridges that are in the roof. You can go to the next one. There's an even better shot of it, I think, later on. Sorry. If you go to the next one, that's another shot. You can see it's actually sticking out.
Okay.
If you go back one, I think maybe Beth, you had sent an email about the steps and the stones there.
Yeah.
So that's another shot of that. If we go forward. So this piece of slate has been there since I think before last year. So I moved it because I was like, this shouldn't. That thing is probably like 80 pounds or something.
It needs a donor plaque.
Maybe. So I moved it. You'll see where I moved it to after.
We should move. We'll move that.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
I don't know where, but we'll move it.
All right. This wall is like deteriorating a bit, it seems. Like there's like a pile of dust underneath, and I kind of like rubbed it, and it might just be like a surface thing, maybe from something related to like ice melt or something like that. I know ice melt can wreck concrete and stuff sometimes, or salt does, whichever one it is. So I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but yeah. There's a mud wasp nest
Ooh.
up there. Whatever those things are called.
Yep.
That's right at the front door.
Okay.
Random rod I found, so I think I put that over with the piece of slate. You'll see. It's one of those driveway marker things.
Yep.
I noticed, again, Jane is probably on this, but there's basically no mulch in these beds, so.
We're remulching.
Yep.
We're gonna
I
clean
figured.
that up a bit.
This tree just was peeling. That's one of the ones in the front. The bark was coming off it. I don't know if that's a bad
Like
sign or
Dr.
not.
Seuss tree.
I don't know if we've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the slate and the rod. That's where I put them. Go to the next one. That's just a wide shot of the front of the building. So we can go to the next one. So the benches, I just noticed the benches aren't in like the same kind of location to each other. One's kind of like in the mulch and one's kind of on the outside. So maybe we can get that moved when we do a bunch of the
Can we
gardening
do
and stuff.
that?
I don't know.
It's just really heavy. It was tipped over, and then Andy righted
Get out
it,
there
and they were
and
done.
do some heavy lifting.
I can
Okay.
see. I mean, I can ask him to look
Yeah.
at that. That would look better. That garden, just so you know, is ancient. It's been here for many years, and there are some. Did we ever clarify that Jack in the Pulpit? There's some of those. in
Yeah,
there.
there's some endangered.
Is that the Williams's donation? Is that the area?
No, that's.
No, this is like original
This has been.
landscaping.
This has been here for years.
I planted the irises. Actually, they were from a garden club.
We did have when we had the whole thing. that was looked at, and they kind of thin plants, but
Okay. This was just a side shot of that area, so we can keep going. There's that piece of trim or whatever sticking up on that right side.
oh, I see it.
Probably really not a big deal, but this is kind of the amphitheater side. There was just another plaque there that I took a picture of. We keep going. Keep going. There's a bunch of trays, like planting trays there. Is that you, Dane? Okay. We can leave it. We can keep going then.
No, time out.
Oh,
They will be removed. Actually,
Okay.
when were you out there? Because there should be nothing on them.
okay. There was like They were like filled with gravel.
So
that's
we
what it
have
looked
to,
like.
I guess, I don't know.
Offered some to staff. I think staff took some, but if there's
Okay,
any
we
left-
we reutilized all that. That's what came
Okay.
off the green roof. It's been incorporated into the garden, but I thought they were gone. We'll make sure they're gone. But
This was a
it's,
week or two. I was
okay,
doing
I know
this.
there's no plants. I don't know if I don't know if the trays are still there. I didn't see them, but
Okay.
I may have just overlooked them.
Okay. They're on the children's room side of the building, just up against
Right.
the building.
Evergreen Environmental might take them back. They're the ones who did the green roof. I don't know if we want to
Okay.
offer them to them.
Just another shot of the garden. I think we're almost done here. Oh, so that was all the exterior stuff. Interior stuff is basically, this is one just spot in the big conference room. Just some dirt spots on the floor
Yep.
from usage. The rest of these are basically water spots. So we can kind of just go through these.
Okay.
But
Is that the community room?
That's a community room, but, wasn't that fixed? So is
Yes.
that new?
How new
So
was
that's
that?
new?
this picture was from like 2 weeks, a week or two ago, whenever I took it. June 15th. Oh, so almost 2
Wow.
weeks ago. Yeah. And I think Beth, I had shown you some of these other water spots
Yeah.
maybe when I was in there.
Yeah, and I wasn't clear on how old those were because I hadn't noticed active leaking. But that's the community room too.
Yeah. So this one, I just circled that vent. If you go to the next one, it was just making a weird noise.
Okay.
It does not compare to the other noises, so I'm not super concerned about it. This is just, this whole area kind of has a bunch of little water spots throughout it. So
This is the upper levels.
yeah, this is the, was it fiction
Yeah.
area? So if you just walk around, you can't really miss them. A lot of them are kind of concentrated near that the main office. So on the right side of this picture,
Yep.
near that door above there, I think I showed you there was a
Yeah.
bunch there. So we can just keep going. Yeah, right there.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know how old those were. Maybe they're old. So we can keep going.
There's spots where we had water before, and I thought that we replaced all the tiles.
Okay.
But what I can't tell is it 6 months old or is it 2 weeks old?
I'm not
I
sure
don't-
how it weathers and looks. So
Okay.
there's a random hole there in that spot.
That's
So-
where we put the bird nest.
And this area, I think a little bit over to the left, that seems to be where that kazoo noise, at least the one I had
yeah.
heard, where that originates from. But I think this is the last one coming up. So I really like these pictures. I think we should maybe have them.
Time out. We're
Yeah.
gonna redo that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
this-
just
That's a project.
This is
that-
because
It's okay. An intern did a lot of that work, and it was part of the grant that we had to have. It's historical in nature. It's a timeline. We're redoing that.
Okay.
The capital campaign is supporting that.
okay, cool.
yes.
I like the pictures. I was just gonna say we should kind of upgrade them to like more permanent fixtures.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be that way.
the wall does have those streaks
Yeah.
are like actually there, I think.
Oh.
I don't think they're like reflections of lighting. I think they're actually maybe this wall didn't get a second coat of paint, or maybe that's like the something else
This
there.
one- this
I'm not-
angle looks fine. It's so funny.
Yeah,
It's like, but
but-
you're right. It does
We
look-
should
yeah,
go look
you
at
can
it.
see it from here actually. I don't know if you're able to zoom in there, but like you can see the lines. It seemed pretty apparent to me, and like, but it's
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look.
more minor cosmetic issue. Yeah, so you can see them from here too. So I think it's just paint related. That's all. And I think that's the last picture.
And we're back at the beginning.
So do we, thank you so much, John, for being so astute in all the pictures. I don't know if I would have even done a small portion of what you did had I been doing the most recent walkthrough. You've brought attention to a lot of issues that I'm wondering, Beth, do you have a running like Excel sheet or maybe a Google Drive type of thing where that which you've mentioned tonight is something that as a checklist item that, you know, as we see these things and fix these things that,
Basically like a running
Yeah,
punch
I
running
do.
list.
Yeah, it's a running, exactly. It's a
so
running.
do we have such a thing
Yeah,
yet?
yeah, I can share it
Oh, okay,
and,
yeah,
and add these
All right.
new things.
okay.
yeah.
But so,
Yeah.
so Beth, you're doing all this stuff in conjunction
That's
with all your
correct.
other
We
work.
don't have a facilities
This
manager
is
or a
like so
custodian.
crazy. But
So
just
you're
so
our
you
new
know.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, but also like I can call Ransford Pest Control and say we have a bird's nest and a mud wasp nest, and they'll come out. But that's a charge in addition to our monthly contract. And like I budgeted some money
Right,
for things that are unplanned.
right.
But that's the kind of bills I'm gonna be
completely
bringing to the
understand your
board.
point about especially the exterior of the building that, you know,
And if there's I wrote down gutter seam is leaking. So yes,
Right.
we can clean the gutter, and that's maintenance.
Right,
and,
right.
And we take care of that.
Yep.
But should it be should it have leaked? Like what caused the leak in the gutter to make it spill onto the outside?
I mean, I'm guessing if
The overflowing.
it's not totally backed up, it probably won't be a big issue.
Yeah.
You know, as long as the water's draining down there at a reasonable rate, then
so.
And I
who-
don't have a clear picture of where we are. I have to look at each individual warranty to say like, what's the roof warranty? Is the flashing faulty? Was it installed wrong? Is that normal wear and tear for a year? And I can bring that to the construction team.
Now,
Same for
who's the
missing window
construction
pieces.
team?
So again, that's the architect,
Okay.
which is Ron from
Okay.
DRA.
Okay.
The owner's project manager, Mark Sullivan from DA Sullivan.
See-
How much of this is
They're
under
employees.
warrant, like, what's the warranty on this stuff?
Well, it's a year, 2 years, 10 years. It kind of depends on what it is. It's
Okay.
not a whole building.
So do you
we're
think
for
that
it
some
year
of this stuff isn't going to cost extra funds?
Maybe. I don't know.
So when will you be speaking with them?
We have a meeting July 10th.
All right, that's, okay, so.
Yes. So I will give them some of these pictures.
Yeah, I didn't know
not the
they were
mud
still in
walks.
existence. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because we're not done.
You're not
We're still we're still meeting.
So, John, you did your walkabout 2 weeks ago, you think?
yeah, I think it was June 15th that these pictures.
So who's July?
Well, I guess I just wanted, I don't know, we talked about the flooding,
Oh, yeah,
in
we
the
have to talk
teen
about
room.
that.
And that happened after I think John did his
Right,
walkabout.
right.
So where do we want to put that?
Well, I guess the walkabout could sort of, doesn't need to be a separate agenda item.
Yeah,
In
I
other
mean, there
words,
was like a walkabout that you and I did, because we both went to the
right,
library
and
on
so the
Saturday.
walkabout, then, well, I guess we could add that we subsequently looked at this past week that there was flooding in the teen room.
Yeah.
And at this point, I do think it's because the gutter was clogged.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I do think that there is also water coming underneath that door, and I've asked for remediation multiple times, and they did different fixes on the exterior. But the issue is, as you walk up to the door from outside, the concrete slopes down, and somebody, I don't remember who it was, told me that the door that's there is not an exterior door.
yeah,
and it's an interior door that is designed that when you open it, a gasket like drops up or goes up so the door can open. And then when the door closes, something inside the door drops down to make a gasket
That's
or
what I'm
seal. And
concerned,
I think
because-
that that's not working.
Because even if there is some water outside, the door should not have allowed leakage. Like if there was like a puddle around outside,
Yeah.
that makes sense with the clogging. But that door shouldn't allow water in to the
And
library.
it was originally coming in at the top of the door, and then the construction team did some remediation with directing the gutters and whatnot. And it looks like it's now coming in at the from the inside. It's the crash bar and the handle, and there's like enough gaps there that water's coming in at that point and dripping down and underneath.
It doesn't seem like that door is the appropriate door for
Yes.
that space,
Right.
and that's right in the teen room.
Right.
Yeah, and have not been able to make headway with saying that in the construction meetings.
What do you mean by that?
Like
They don't listen?
nobody's saying you're right. We'll replace the door. You're right. We'll fix
So
the
I
bottom.
took some
like
like, I don't know. It's done
So I
pictures,
think in the
but-
construction meeting, you had sent out pictures and video.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that may hold some weight in saying, what's the answer?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering too, is it making note of when it rains heavily next time, is it going to flood?
Right.
And-
And then what's the state of the gutter?
Right.
Yeah, but also too, what is the appropriate procedure for when
Yeah.
it does flood? Because my understanding is that it flooded this past weekend, but it had flooded like the week before.
Yeah.
This past weekend, Bob Berger, sent somebody over, and they put the two like bean bags, things.
Sandbag.
Sandbags.
Yeah,
things or
the
whatever.
bags there, and Cindy, put the fan there, which is good. But this carpet there, so the
Yeah.
carpet got wet, and of course, we have to be very careful.
I
this
think
is-
calling Mr. Berger is not going to be the long-term solution. I mean, this is something that needs to be fixed, that we can't just rely on.
Yeah,
So he
Beth,
did apply.
how can we support you in this? This is really
We
important.
need
Yeah.
custodial. Like we need a facilities manager.
Who should we,
for our
who can we
facility.
bring, who should we talk to get, this
Yeah,
resolved?
well,
Well, I think, I think that whoever, I mean, you need to put their feet to the fire to ask that question on July 10th to say everyone's telling us that this is not an exterior door. Did they put the wrong door in? I mean, just put their feet to the fire. I mean, they're not gonna wanna spend more money, so, I mean, push the envelope to say are you telling me this is the right door or the wrong door?
and show them the pictures of the flooding, and then
Right.
the fact that Bob Berger had to send somebody over with the sandbags to
Who else is in that
prevent
meeting?
the.
Who would help?
William Blake.
Would it
Yeah.
help if you have any of us join you?
I mean.
I'm just trying to think.
I mean, William's the assistant town administrator. I would have a robust conversation with him to say that we really need to get an answer to this, and it's not, I mean, the Band-Aid approach is just not going to work in the long term. We risk damaging all that
Yeah.
sheetrock there.
Oh,
We
yeah.
risk mold, we risk all sorts of
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Right,
And
that's
so,
the big thing, yeah.
so I think it's important that you and William are on the same page, that this needs to be a fix, and it may be their responsibility to do so, if they in fact put in the wrong door,
Yeah.
so. Put your fighting gloves on.
Well, we have to
I'm-
figure out why it's doing that, right? We're kind of guessing.
Right.
We don't know.
No, but ask
it
that
seems
question.
pretty-
Yeah. So, well, step one is clean the gutters, which
Right.
we've done, but
So
there's,
pay
there's also this
attention,
indication
pay
of
attention to what happens, if anything, during the next heavy rainfall. And then number two,
Yeah, like today, probably flooded.
really be on the same page with William as
yeah.
to,
It wasn't wet when I walked by today. I did check.
But it really, when I was walking,
Yes.
it was
Tonight,
pouring down rain, so maybe if somebody could check in the morning.
It's supposed to be 3 hours of
tomorrow
rain, I was
morning,
told.
see if there's any more flooding
Yeah.
right.
in
So
there. I
we-
don't know, are the bean bags still there?
I did not see them, but I wasn't looking for it either. I
It
just
could
did a
ruin the
quick
rug and everything.
So who's
Yeah.
doing the July walkabout? Everyone's looking at me, or do you wanna do it? I don't know.
No. I mean, John, if you're willing to continue to do those walkabouts, I mean,
Just for one more month,
it seems
and then
like.
I'll take August,
Sure.
and maybe even 2 months at a time, August and
Yeah,
September.
that's a good
If you're
idea.
willing to do, July, I'll do August and September.
Sometimes two people would do it too. If you want help, someone can join you.
And then I think I was talking to someone and they mentioned, it was you, Aaron, about how we would kind of alternate interior, exterior. So should I do that? Should I focus on interior this next month?
In the winter, it was really hard to do exterior. So, I mean, you have to just kind of figure it out as you go, but certainly, you're not gonna find, like, that was great. I didn't expect
Yeah.
you to do the internal as well. But, you're not gonna find a lot of new things based on what you saw last month. But yeah, I mean, that's how they used to do it. They would alternate.
Okay. I'll probably try and focus on the interior.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, like, I don't know if anybody noticed in the package, but there was minutes from 2013, and then the walkabout that Diane and Henry did, that Hank Polar did, is in there, and
I didn't
it's all
see that.
like, it was all like, it's really mostly interior stuff, but it's kind of cool.
And I can try and this is just like an iCloud shared album, so I can try and link it, like get it to you, Roger,
All right,
the
thank
link
you.
into the packet ahead of time too, so that way everybody can Okay, and if anyone wants it, I can email you the link.
I think Doug needs to see that.
Okay,
All right.
I'll actually email him now.
Yes,
Quick point,
please.
The interior,
Yes.
and the carpet, you were mentioning the teen room. We've had the game room carpet cleaned over Memorial Day weekend, and it was clean. They have not, in areas that they have not spilled on again, it's coming back out. So there may need to be something budgeted for the future for just replacing that periodically, or having it cleaned and the process for cleaning it. It was clean. I've seen a couple spots where they have spilled on accident. We put tables in there to try and stop the spilling,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's just coming back up out of the fibers. It wasn't.
Oh, it is. I see what you're saying.
But we,
It's
we,
gonna
pur-
need to be replaced.
we
somewhat
have
on
a
regular-
carpet cleaner. So, we have a carpet cleaner, so if it comes back, we can ask for more cleaning. It's just, it takes a long time to dry, so it has to be done over a long weekend.
I don't know
But
if
like
it
with the
was
community room.
dried enough, or enough of it was pulled out, because it's still coming up out of the fibers from
Okay.
the previous. But that is probably something that's gonna need to be replaced more often than other
Oh,
places in the
right.
building, so for future
Right.
budgeting.
And that's the game room?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the most used.
Thank you.
Somebody should budget that so we know.
Thank you, John, for your detail, and I think this is gonna go a long way in really having us monitor and address a lot of outstanding issues. Under new business, the Marilyn Wilcox Retirement Commendation. Did everyone get a chance to read that?
I did not.
All right.
Doug
Oh,
also,
yes, I did.
Doug also is willing to, get together, a group gift, if we
Yep.
are willing to do that.
And we're allowed to do that. I contacted the State Ethics Commission regarding the fact that retirements is one of the exemptions of the conflict of interest law, to the extent that there's no subordinate relationship and we're public employees giving a retirement gift to another public employee, so there's no limitations on that in dollar amount or any reporting requirement in this context, so I'm willing to donate.
He said he had Venmo. How did he want us to do it?
I think he was flexible.
Was that Doug?
Yeah, he sent the email. Let me just,
Okay.
pull it up again.
So let me ask you this, so I have this, this commendation and it's not framed, or it's just basically presented and let her do, I mean,
Wow.
how she wants to, you know, oftentimes these things are not presented in frames, they're presented as a
Okay.
commendation within a professional looking folder. And so, question I have is, twofold. And I'll give you a copy of this, Aaron. Just a regular copy. I had actually done this. What do you think looks better, white or manila?
I like the vanilla. I think it looks
All right.
fancier.
Yeah.
All right. What I did
Thank
is,
you, too.
and
Thank
I
you.
don't know to the extent that you, was it you, Beth, that put this together, or Debbie as well, or, but what I did is I simply formatted it for signatures, okay? Do you want me to read this? Just, or, all right. It's the Town of Grafton logo, whereas Senior Library Associate Marilyn Wilcox has provided a warm, welcoming presence and excellence in patron service to youth and their families for nearly 19 years in the children's room at the Grafton Public Library, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has prioritized continuing education throughout her tenure and holds a Massachusetts Library Association Paralibrarian 2 certification, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has shown compassion and empathy towards coworkers, volunteers, and patrons alike, mother henning us with care and kindness, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has demonstrated skill beyond compare at excellence in connecting the right person with the right book at the right time, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has shared engaging storytime skills on weeknights and Saturdays in pajamas and in day clothes, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has been a dedicated and steady presence, working both Friday and Saturday shifts instead of a rotation for many years, she has been a familiar face to weekly visitors, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has been a volunteer coordinator for many, many teens who have held the position as a first job of sorts, and whereas Marilyn Wilcox has become a shelving dynamo, keeping the many collections in the children's room orderly and organized. Now let us commend Marilyn Wilcox upon her June 30th, 2023 retirement for all she has contributed, mentored and modeled at the Grafton Public Library, signed the Grafton Public Library Board of Trustees, Roger Trahan Jr. Chair, John Babrisky Vice Chair, Douglas Bowman, Carrie Hogan, Stephanie Texiera, Aaron Vandersteen, Dana Wilson. Thank you, Marilyn. So, thank you for putting this together.
That is
This
very,
nice
you,
job.
what, what a wonderful thing you did, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much
That's
for
really
doing
great.
it.
Made
And
me
so,
almost cry.
so I have this formatted for our signatures. Unfortunately, Stephanie is not going to be here, and she's returns from vacation next week. What I will do is I will arrange for Doug to sign this, and I will just pass this around for signature.
We can save the signatures to the end, if you'd like to keep, the meeting moving.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just, yeah, I'll keep on talking.
Perfect.
Staff all right, so the Maryland, all right, so staff appreciation, I saw,
Yeah,
all right, so I don't know if the staff appreciation was limited to, were they one and the same? The party for
No.
Maryland is,
no,
Separate.
okay.
Yeah. So join us. This is actually under new meetings, but this Friday in 2 days we're having cupcakes and community can drop in and say thank you and goodbye to Maryland.
At 10
For last
10
year,
a.m.
between
to
10 and
noon.
12. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So I don't think we have a place for the first staff.
And, all right, director contract, I know that,
So, well, I guess for
Uh,
staff appreciation, I think that's something that we need to discuss
oh, I'm
in the
sorry.
future,
Yes,
because
new business.
we have in the past, done staff appreciations, we've done parties, or maybe, sent things, for treats and that, so I think it's something that I know we're running long today, but maybe something we should revisit next meeting.
I think so, we need to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I did see, that's a good thing, I saw it
Yeah.
mentioned there.
All right, and so we can revisit that in July. Director contract, I know that you had sent, Beth, a number of documents that I actually hadn't included in the meeting packet. I didn't know how exhaustive those documents would eventually be or what was pertinent now, and such, so I think this is a starting point. I know that there was that the contract and step rates and those discussions regarding pay are not necessarily separated from the budget, the annual budget discussion. So
Yep.
when will this, I mean, library directors usually have contracts?
It's a state law
Yeah,
that
it's-
library directors are supposed to have a contract, and
Okay.
I've been trying to get a contract for 10 years.
Okay,
It's
I
way
didn't have a
overdue.
And Tim
Okay.
didn't think that you needed a contract,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, but then he agreed that I should have one, had a draft, ran it by legal, and I brought it to the board, and the board, we weren't able to collect all the board signatures to sign the contract. So it just was dead in the water for years. But it comes up every year on state aid. Does the director have a contract?
We need to
Supposed to
handle
have
this.
so when do these discussions start? I mean, and who does them? In other words, is this a you and William thing
No,
for starters, or you
Evan-
and Evan?
Evan conveyed to me that it is this board's responsibility to
Okay.
bring a contract draft
Draft
to
to
town
them.
administrator.
Okay,
Yeah, so you need to write one, have your legal system team look at it, and then goes to the town and their legal system or team looks at it. And once we are in, you need
No, we
you
can
need
go
to
to
write it
Jenny.
and get a lawyer.
Okay.
You need to write it and get a lawyer.
Can we go to Ginny?
No, because she's town council.
right.
Oh,
I think you need to,
But we're part
Yeah.
of town.
but she can't represent both. Though.
okay.
But we're,
Oh,
but we're
we'll-
not like
Check
fighting
with William or Evan.
We'll figure it out. But is this supposed to be done before? I mean, where are we with this in the whole budget? Would this have to be? I mean, does
Would
this
have
have
to be for
anything?
next
Does
year
this
if we're
have
gonna
anything
change
to
the
do with
money.
salary
Yeah. We
We
increase?
can't change our money
no.
now.
No.
But
And-
we have to
no.
plan for next year.
So
Yes.
so
Really
2025, right?
Well, yeah, FY 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, budget requests start in September of this
Okay.
year for 2025.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this a subcommittee issue, or how do we get the ball rolling officially?
I think it's probably a subcommittee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had the opportunity to sign up for the Mass Library Trustee listserv, but I
No,
know-
not yet, I have not.
Yeah, I know that I've seen that pop up a couple of times as a discussion where other town Board of Trustees library trustees are asking other libraries about their director contracts. So I know it's not something that I've really encountered, certainly since I've been on this board, and clearly we haven't done it yet because Beth hasn't had a contract, right? But it was probably something that either should have been developed years ago or was developed. So I don't know if
I've seen the MBLC website. They have
Yeah.
templates, and so
great.
they basically say, hey, folks, you don't need to recreate the wheel. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. So I'll certainly, for starters, look at some of those templates. But then we'd have to create a subcommittee of two? Or,
Couple people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in my wheelhouse, but I'm willing to help
Okay.
with that if you don't mind taking the lead. at
okay,
least,
I'll take the lead on this.
Yep.
All right, and we can figure out,
So
Some timeframe.
the draft contract that almost got signed, so was that something, Beth, that you helped write, or was it?
I think, I think I probably went to the MBLC website, downloaded a template, filled in the relevant information for
Right.
Grafton. Like, I didn't ask for 3 months vacation or
But-
$100,000 a year. You know,
When was that? And the
in
board wouldn't sign it?
2013. Yeah, I couldn't get enough people to come and sign it, and I just gave up.
That's weird.
I had to focus energy elsewhere.
Well, we had a motion, like you could see in the minutes, like,
Yeah.
I made a motion, you seconded, Dana, to send it to Tim, but then Tim said no. That's, like, if you look at what you sent.
We got past all that, and it sat in my office waiting for signatures for months, and then I gave up.
Do we know about that? I don't know.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna rectify it as soon as we
Thank
can.
you.
I mean, we got to. I mean, it should be rectified.
all right, I'll take the lead on this and bring some materials together from various sources and maybe even look around. And thank you for providing that Excel sheet regarding the highlighted in yellow about, was it the 15 to 25,000? There's the different bands of population.
Yes, so that's now out of date because it's from last year. So I actually sent a link today with all
Okay.
the newest data for salary.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
to
that was what I
supplement-
sent. Yeah.
Okay, that
Yes.
was, okay.
Yep.
In exchange for that, so I can just ignore that Excel
Yes.
one, the old one. Okay, thank
Yep.
you. So strategic plan, 5D, and I guess, are we going to, are we going to interchange those two terms? Is it a strategic plan or is it a long-range plan?
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
All right, I didn't want to be
Okay.
throwing out two different things for the same thing.
Pick your favorite.
And is there one term that would be better used?
Probably long range plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can.
So,
We can
so
change
Doug sent us a message, cause he had the action item to follow up with the former, consultant.
Okay.
And he said, so he sent this, just, this evening, after the meeting started. He said he reached out to 6 of the contacts in early June. Patty DiTullio responded she no longer consults, but will recommend a few people, but have not heard back from her yet. No one else responded until today. I heard back from Terry McQuone, Consulting and Training Services Director for Mass Library Systems. I should have some more information on potential consultants and pricing soon.
All right.
And that is happening when?
So it's not as urgent as I thought.
Oh,
Yeah, usually a new strategic plan is due by October 1st. And then every year for the next 5 years, an action plan is due by December 1st. And when I called MBLC and said, is there any way we can have a little extra time? Because we just can't meet over the summer. It's too hard to pull people together.
And they knew though, did they know that, had you conveyed to them that we'd actually allotted, funds and that we were looking for
Yeah,
consultants?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And they said, well, are you going to apply for any more grants? And I said, no, because we still have this building grant. And they said that you only need to have a strategic plan on file if you're planning to apply for the LSTA grant cycle that they do, which is not a building program grant. It's a different set of grants. So we don't have to have it done for October 1st. We can do it for next October 1st if we want.
I wouldn't wanna kick
But
that can down the road.
no, I don't think we
Me
should.
either. I think
but-
it needs to be done.
So,
But
do
there's a
we
stay of
jeopardize any of the funds for this project at all?
They told me I should check with Lauren Starr, our construction specialist, and I have not followed up with her.
Okay, is that one of the,
so.
people that's going to be in that next meeting, or?
No, she doesn't go to those meetings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
But I can reach out to her.
Okay.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Well, now that we have a new library, I'm hoping that the community, there people will want to, participate, because now now we're able to do more than we ever could.
Well, we had
So-
good participation, like during COVID, like that little
Yeah.
room was pretty crowded,
Yeah.
you know?
So, I want to commend Beth on a fantastic job for outreach. I mean, the newsletter was a great informational source. I got that, and I was able to speak with people in the community who I thought would be really great on that
Awesome.
committee. And then just seeing it in the newspaper was fantastic, and seeing that picture of.
are you talking the community advocate?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
I
great
missed
article.
that.
And so I snapshotted that, and
When
I
was
sent
that?
that out just this past week.
I
Great
missed it.
summer issue, by the way. Lots of cool
Yeah.
summer stuff around.
I think they may have, I think the whoever wrote the article, I think they may not have had your email address correct.
Was that Maureen Sullivan? Because she's the one that used to cover Grafton, and now
I think they,
she's.
she's
I
left.
think they, I think
No,
they
but she's that
omitted the
community
H in
advocate.
Freiber. Yeah, and,
It's no easier to spell than Galloway.
but, yeah, no, but it was,
Oh well. Which always had an O in it. I've gotten about 10 people from the community volunteer though, so I'm just having them fill out an application.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And holding their names and saying more information.
that was a
is
great
forthcoming.
article.
I missed that. That was last week.
Where your
Oh,
email
let's
was
see.
listed.
Maybe at the end.
I think it was at the end, no?
Schreiber B.
Yeah, that's fine.
SC.
Yeah.
Did they
There's
spell
no
it?
H. Yeah.
SCH. Yeah, that's
No
right.
SCR.
Where?
They forgot
Oh
the-
yeah, but
that's
you know,
okay.
They might be smart and figure it.
That was, I was really, that was a
People
nice
are-
article. It was nice
Wow.
to see so prominently.
Was that last Fridays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll let them know.
Yeah.
Maureen
But
Sullivan
we-
used to be at Grafton News, and then
Yeah,
she got hired there.
We should also though, like maybe this is another subcommittee opportunity because the board is also supposed to be suggesting people and talking to people as you are and
Right.
yeah,
We
key
haven't done that.
what's the word? Key stakeholders.
Okay.
So I usually reach out to like, Apple Tree Arts and the school superintendent and try and get people from various organizations and committees in town to help out. But please forward names. We don't want. Ideally, it's 12 to 15 people. It's
So-
not
so-
supposed to be like 30 people.
So without a limit, who's the appointing authority and how are these interviews or who's going to put this all together?
So usually, I mean, Doug volunteered to help take this on, so
Okay.
it should be Doug, not to.
Like,
He's
is there
not
a
here. I
no, but
volunteered,
all
but,
right.
like,
So
for
like,
him to
is there a
do.
deadline, or are we going to extend the
Yeah,
deadline?
what's it?
And then,
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
We have to get the consultant to
Okay.
find their timing availability.
Right.
really.
I'm just saying that I think it would be a best practice to identify the number of people that it's limited to and who's going to sort of decide who gets in and who gets out. Is it unlimited? Is it
It's
limited?
not unlimited. No, it's
So-
ideally 12 to 16, maybe
Okay.
18 people, and that has to include a staff
All
member.
adults, right? Do they don't have
We
to be
had it.
No
registered voters?
teenagers.
We had one teen representative
Yeah.
last time.
All right.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be voters in town, registered voters?
Just residents, I
No.
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think in the past we haven't had that. I mean, we haven't had to weed out a lot of people, have
Okay.
we?
No, we've never had people come
Because you
forward
have
and
to
say
be.
they
They
want
have to make a commitment to go to so many meetings,
Yeah.
and that's sometimes difficult for people to do.
If they are, it is a volunteer position though. If they're over 18, and especially if we have a teen on that board or group with us, they will have to pass a Corey background check. So that's what all of our adult volunteers
Oh,
have
okay.
to do.
Got it.
It's a requirement.
All right. All right, so
Is anybody going to help Doug? That's a huge thing.
So in the past,
He's still
the
working a
the
lot of this stuff.
scribe
I'll work
helped
with
coordinate it.
Doug. As the chair, I may
Sorry.
as well just get my feet wet and
Okay.
aside from the contract, they should just jump right in with the strategic plan too. I've started reading the current and the prior ones and the action plans as well, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of heavy lifting, but
Yeah. So I volunteered to be on the committee,
oh, okay.
but I don't think it's in my purview to appoint people for that committee if I'm
Right.
participating.
Right.
So happy to have you or Doug certainly be part of that process.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's up for discussion if you'd like me part of the appointing people, but I don't believe so. I mean, I've been more interested in just getting some key stakeholders, like you said,
Sure.
Yeah.
that we really want to hear their voices on that committee.
All right. So we could probably, at some point, not tonight, indicate a deadline. I think it's important that the public would know when a deadline is to apply.
Yep.
And how to put forth their, just like any other board or committee, putting forth their qualifications and whether they need to do anything such as actually show up in the same way that, for example, select board appoints committees. Not that we need to get that thorough, but I think that, I just see that we would wanna tie it up to,
We really need that consultant, like the
Right.
consultant needs to
Yeah.
say, this is how many meetings,
Right.
this is when I have availability, so.
Yeah, we
really
can't
need to get
really,
that first.
can we seek people out without knowing when it's gonna be?
Not really.
All we can do is publicize it and start to generate interest. And
is
okay,
everyone
instead of
okay
just
with me,
taking
working
volunteer.
with Doug to really,
Yeah.
nail down some of the,
Yep.
Yeah, but the consultant will really help,
Right,
you know,
and-
build a structure.
and also finding that consultant, you know.
It would be good too to have some, key stakeholders, it would be good to have different people, like young family people with young kids. Like just all ages.
Right.
But especially young children, because we have both the children's room and
Right.
the teens room.
Right. All right. I'll keep in contact with Doug. Funding request. 2,434.30 from state aid for DMH invoice to repair EVSE charging stations. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve, from state aid, the amount of $2,434.30, to pay for the DMH invoice, to repair the EVSC charging
All
station.
right. Do I have?
I'll second the motion.
All right. Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Carrie. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, aye.
Oh, all right, I'm
You didn't
sorry.
give me a chance
I
to
didn't
say
know,
my
I'm
name.
sorry.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
declare the motion carried unanimously.
big
Policy
deal.
update, Aaron.
So I'll be brief. We got some feedback on the art and display policy from the union representatives at the library. So just for everybody to kind of know what that means, essentially, if there's parts of the policy that add additional duties to the staff that's not within their duties, they point it out, and that can be a negotiation point for them, negotiating the contract. So what we did is we went through the art exhibit and display policy, responded to some of the notes that they left. They didn't attend the meeting, but that wasn't required. But our feedback was really, it was recorded by Zoom so that they could review it and then come back to us if they had more questions. So we're not quite sure how this interaction is going to work yet. It's new for us. So we're hoping that, I would say, within 30 to 45 days that we either hear back that say, yep, we accept, or we have more questions. And once that's done, legal has already looked over this particular art display policy. If there's any changes, it might have to go back to legal. But if not, in response to the union comments, then we'll have that for you guys to review, hopefully by next meeting or the meeting.
So, Aaron, does that encompass, does another policy within our existing policies cover all displays? Or is art going to be a subset of all displays?
I believe there's a separate policy for that.
Okay. Is part of the material selection policy include
No.
displays?
No,
All right.
we need a separate.
Because I know that we've gotten some feedback this past month about the decor of the building.
Yes.
And you know, how do we decide what not only the selections of materials, but what gets put up, where it goes, is it limited to certain areas like the display case? Is it limited to art? And so is it warranted that we need or we would benefit from a larger display policy, and then art is a sort of subset of that? Or is that just the purview of the library, director
Procedural.
that says, I think this is in the public interest to display certain things, not just art?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, speak to that.
Yeah.
Sure.
please.
So we had a display and bulletin board policy for the old building.
Right,
Okay,
Then we pulled out just the bulletin board piece, and we have a bulletin board policy.
right.
The art and display policy that we're talking about now is members of the public who want to display something in the building, whether that's a collection in the glass display case, a sculpture on a table somewhere, or things that are hung on rails and hooks that we provide, but it's not produced by the library or library staff.
okay,
So that's us vetting and accepting things from the public, artists, private collections, whatever,
right,
to show publicly.
okay,
So that's what Aaron's talking about that we sent for feedback.
gotcha,
We additionally, I think, need a separate general policy that's just library displays, that would be things staff are pulling and putting on display, that says that it's up to the individual staff member to put together a display, and if you don't like it, you don't have to look at it.
right, right,
And it doesn't mean that the town of Grafton is endorsing
right,
the book that the staff member has said, hey, this is a good book and people might want to think about
Right.
reading it.
right, right.
Yeah.
Right, and so, yeah, I think that, we're going to be, having more discussions as
Yes.
the community gets more involved and is visiting the building. People will have opinions on things.
Sure.
So, it-
So that was on our agenda. At this point, that's the material selection policy.
Okay.
I think is something that we're going to spend a lot of time on as a committee. It's not something we want to rush through.
And that's separate. That's the items that we're purchasing for circulation,
Right,
which is
right.
not
Yes.
necessarily items
You're
on
right.
display.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's three separate
I
policies.
was gonna say, I just checked the agenda from our last meeting, and the display policy was on there separate from the art display policy, but I don't have it in the notes, so I'll
Oh,
go.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we might have passed over it because the
Alright.
I
meeting
think
was
we
running long.
read through it quickly
Yeah.
and then tabled
Yep.
it.
Oh, did I miss?
But there is a separate draft
That's
policy
okay.
already.
so do you anticipate, Aaron, having, some items before us next meeting or further down the road?
It all depends on when we're substantially finished with the art exhibit policy and the food and kitchen policy. We've been working on those for a long time. So legals looked at them. We're really close. So it just depends on if we get the feedback from the union to see if we can
Okay,
bring those to the board.
all right,
If anybody wants a preview, happy to show some drafts. We're always looking
can wait.
for feedback.
What
for
is the one that
discussion.
you're working on right now, so I understand?
So
The
on our,
one you're discussing?
the art exhibit and I want to say in display policy, that's what's written on the agenda.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
okay,
And it could be that it needs to be reworded. Sorry, it's getting late.
know.
Reworded to like public art and public display, just to sort of differentiate.
Yeah, because I'd love to see
exhibit
how,
policy.
that's
Art
not,
exhibit
I mean, to me, this is not an easy topic. Because we have to have some, I mean, someone at the library has to be able to look at, we have to figure out how we're gonna use our walls, really. That's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
this
public
is a very
spaces.
comprehensive policy.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to take a look at
Okay.
it. But again, we've been working on it for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I'm not, I'm just saying, it's a huge thing, is what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
I don't know, like, so public people are like asking, saying, hey, can I put
Oh,
a
yeah.
piece of artwork here, or will you hang up my artwork?
Yeah.
That's very
Because
common
we
in
have-
libraries. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want to just send out the draft to
That'd
the
be
rest of
great.
the board, Aaron?
I don't know. I mean,
I think I will just add, just a word of caution that, it would be for our eyes to look at, but sometimes committees, sometimes unwittingly get into these serial conversations. We have to be mindful of the open meeting law.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I think we should wait
Yeah,
until, because because you're waiting to hear the feedback from the union, and then it might have to go to legal. So why don't we get that settled, and then when you feel like, yeah, we
Okay.
have a good draft, that's a good time.
And
I'm
will we have an
infinitely curious, but I'm willing to wait if everyone else.
Will we have opportunity to review it then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So
It's just huge. I
We
mean,
have to
it's
vote.
pretty important, is what I'm saying.
It's
That's all.
huge. Yep. And what I want to avoid is giving something that we're going to vote on 2 weeks before. So this will be something that we're going to give you several weeks. And,
Thank you.
And we can decide, even if it's on the agenda and you haven't had proper time to review it, then, we can table it for the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yes.
Right? We don't have to vote on anything.
Yeah, because this is,
Ready.
I mean, here I am, trustee for a while. I didn't, so like when we walk into the when we come through the lobby, the entranceway, and there's that display box, that area. I thought that was just for, I mean, not knowing, I thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's really for the library to promote whatever they think's happening.
Yeah.
And, or then they might, if there's an event coming, depending how you know, you might promote that. So I didn't know that. So that is space, like I, as a person, public person might say, hey, can we put
Yeah.
something in there?
So the policy has
Okay.
the process for how to do that, and then I think it does say that like we have final say. So if you say you want to show your collection of Lego figurines, that's probably okay. But there might be other things that you have a collection of that we're going to be like, that's not really appropriate for the public.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
So
I
it
would-
gives that
Yeah.
community a chance to
Yeah.
kind of use the library in a way.
Yes.
Right.
And
And I-
have, build more, participation
Mm-hmm.
and support of the library and understand it.
Right,
Yeah,
and
and-
I would mention that I know that, we're meeting once a month, I would be open to, and maybe not during the summer, but, even just on policy, as a lot of these things are in the works, that having a workshop meeting just on policy or any other items allows us an evening or whatever to really pour through this stuff without.
I think we've done that before.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
If we think it's
occasionally. I'm not saying we go to a two meeting per month schedule, but occasionally workshop meetings or one agenda or two agenda item meetings are probably warranted. Especially where we're tackling a lot more policy. But
Can I clarify for Dana, the display case in the lobby, because we didn't have an art exhibit and display policy, was sitting empty, so we started using it for advertising programs and book
Yes.
displays.
I think that's a great use of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just,
I'd probably like to table a lot of the
Yep.
back and forth.
Sure.
But certainly, come to policy committee meeting if you want. I know that might violate actually, it's not violating
'cause we
open meeting
post
law
it.
because we post an agenda.
Right.
So we can have multiple trustees who want to attend those meetings. We meet once a month already on this. That's where we kind of workshop a lot of these ideas too. And if you're very interested in a particular policy, in case of art display policy, come and provide feedback directly, review it ahead of time, come to the meeting,
That's fine.
talk
I
it
just-
over with us.
Been very busy, but, and a lot what we're talking about is not permanent display, correct?
The whole point is every 30 days we could have another new,
Okay.
right,
Yeah, there's a lot
as
of
long
really
as there's staff to help manage it.
Right, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole key.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah,
I-
and then we end up
yeah.
having an event where an
It's-
artist has.
It's very important, so
reception.
Aaron, I appreciate you putting all your time and effort into it.
no, it's,
Thank
it's
you.
a group
I think
effort.
it's so important.
And I just wanted to comment that Allison Piccone put together a fantastic display with it was a community project of the
yeah.
the squares.
Yeah.
So those are on display, and there's contributions from library staff, the community at large, and they look fantastic. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and eventually again, if somebody wants to display other artwork, photography, whatever, we can rotate those out, and then there's always something to put up. If we don't have anything, because they look amazing.
right,
So,
all right, thank you, Aaron.
Just on the policy, so I know you have those queued up. We did talk at last meeting about the volunteer policy, so is that
Yeah.
in the queue?
yeah, I have a draft. I think I haven't even shared it, but I've been trying to get a volunteer policy established also for years. Yeah,
So,
because we really need to have one.
yeah, and then, when I was in the library on Saturday, I saw that the CNC machine, I think.
3D printer.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, the 3D printer, that it's basically, I guess, ready to go, but,
Yep.
Sarah, the teen librarian, mentioned that they can't use it because there isn't a policy for it. So, so I
thought
think
We have a
that's what,
policy.
We do have a
that's what-
policy,
that's
don't
what
we?
she told me.
it hasn't gone to the union yet.
Okay,
Okay, we do have
Right.
the policy, it's not
We have a draft
approved yet.
ready to
Okay.
go.
I
Yeah.
can send that along with the art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arts.
Okay.
great, okay, terrific, thank
All
you.
right, director's report and stats,
So there was
I'm
a
sorry.
lot of discussion on just one policy.
right,
We reviewed a lot more than one policy.
Right.
I'm just going to state it for the record.
sure,
We
Sorry.
tabled the material selection policy. We're rewriting the fine-free library policy because it was
Right.
written during the pandemic. It was just a
this
five-line.
would be a more permanent thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
So you can take a look at what's there now. It was written in 2020. Our pandemic policy, we're looking at that one, taking out a lot of the procedural language in there and try to make it less specific to, COVID, but more towards pandemic. But most important part is that we will follow, state and government guidelines on quarantining procedures because what we are writing in there is so specific, cleaning procedures. This was required at the time, though. It was
I think you
required.
should
This is what
save
they
them
were
though.
asking
Don't
for.
get mad at
Yeah, oh,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Save them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I believe we talked a lot about the we're working on the programming policy as well. And you know, there's verbiage in there about violations of the code of conduct. We felt like if somebody was disruptive, you can put a package together and send them, you know, with like a take-home packet if they couldn't, you know. But then we're like, if they're violating code of conduct, they just need to leave, and you shouldn't do any sort of, you know, special compensation for them for, you know.
We save it for no trespass orders.
Yeah, right. So, so those are the new policies we're working on. Nothing new at this point. We have a full load with those five or six policies.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
heavy
that's-
lifting.
Yeah, it's very.
Thank you all for your heavy
important work.
lifting.
And policy committee meets July 10th at 7 o'clock online.
Yep.
And in person.
So
Yeah,
director's report and stats, thank you for all that is happening, okay? So it's the
Thank you
17th.
to my staff for everything.
Thank you for all of you and your
Yeah.
staff
the
for
staff.
everything. You know, I think that the public, if they read this, just this one director's report, would be like, oh, wow. You know, this is everything that goes on a daily and a weekly basis. So.
7 pages.
It's 7 pages. So I read that cover to cover. I don't have any specific questions. I will just say that I found that I was psyched. 2 comments. I was psyched that the meeting room cancellation rate was only, or no-show rate was 1 no-show in 172 meetings, but that
Wow.
but conversely, there's a 30% no-show rate on the museum pass reservations, which have a monetary value. We can tackle that at another time, but I think I was surprised at how high that was, that people are sort of, you know, saying, oh, I want this, it has a value, and then not, you know, and leaving other people unable to make use of this
It's
stuff.
been a long-term
You know.
problem.
We've been working on that, right? Didn't it get a little
Yeah.
bit better? I
So
thought?
I talked about it at the Friends meeting because I had a
Yeah.
report. We had like 548 reservations and 125 no-shows. And when I brought that back to staff, they said, oh, well, sometimes we just forget
Right.
to log that it went out and came back, because with the physical passes, it's a little bit easier. You give somebody a plastic membership card. They go to, I don't even know which ones have it. They go to a museum. They show it at the museum. They take it back home and then drop it off at the library. So there's a physical thing that we're checking in
Sure.
and out. But Museum of Science, Children's Museum, many of these have now gone to either a paper or even a digital pass.
Wow.
So they might have to come in or not,
Oh, so
and the staff
then-
have to like
Oh,
check
okay.
out
So-
a digital and check in a digital, and
Oh,
they're not
okay.
necessarily
So
remembering.
it could be either or.
So yeah, so like I said, we have 4 reservations maybe for the botanical garden, not Tower Hill, Garden in the Woods, but 0 pickups. And I said, I'm pretty sure that I actually like remember that person, and it might have been me who missed that, but I'm pretty sure that it got picked up. It also does make sense to some degree. I don't think people are being thoughtless necessarily, but I think things do come up. Like we were gonna go to the zoo and it rained. We were gonna go to the
Right,
zoo.
right.
Someone has COVID now. We
Sure.
can't. And they just didn't think to let us know. They just
Right.
couldn't and didn't bother.
Right, right.
So, but it is around a 25% no show for the entire year, which was last July 1st through the French.
Would you say that that's across CWMR system, that's a running rate?
I don't know. I could check
Okay.
in with my
That-
local directors
I
and
think
find
that would
out.
be useful
Yeah.
information.
I do think past use decline because people have started just buying their own passes and not wanting to wait for library passes, because a lot of museums now when you go,
Sure.
it's $80 for your whole family, but for $150 now you're a member for a year.
Right.
So it's worth it. The price of your
Okay.
ticket that first visit gets applied to the membership, and it kind of becomes worth it.
Right.
If you're going to go twice, fine, it's paid for and we can afford it, we'll just do that.
All right.
So, and we do participate with Blackstone Valley Libraries in that we have some reciprocal borrowing going on in the past. Our Grafton Museum passes were only for Grafton residents,
Oh, okay.
but every other local community allowed Grafton residents to, if you couldn't get the Museum of Science pass at our library, you could go over to Millbury and get it.
Sure.
So we wanted to allow that as well. So residents from other towns can't make an advance reservation, but they can call or come in day of. And if it's available and no one from Grafton has requested it, we'll let it go out so that
Sure.
they're not sitting unused. And we've got 19 passes at this point, which is a lot. The
good.
kids in the Grafton elementary schools get credit on their summer learning passport for going to a museum. Like, it's as good as reading or watching educational TV. So it was promoted. Not all the museums
Sure.
were up to date, unfortunately. I missed that when we got to edit it. But it got promoted, to all the lower school kids for this year, that the library's a place to go and get those discount coupons. So we'll keep working on it. We also have been using a duplicate system where we had this online checkout and then a little index card checkout too. And I finally said to staff, just let it go.
Right.
We don't need to keep a paper trail, but you do need to check in and out
Right, right.
on the digital system. So we'll see if it changes in the next
Thank you.
couple of months.
Any
We were very
questions?
busy. All the numbers are here, and
I just had a quick question about that. So how does
Yeah.
it work? I take a pass out
yeah.
digitally, and then what am I supposed
So
to do?
you make your online reservation, and if it's a digital pass, you get an email with a barcode to your email, and then
Just
you
don't
take
think
your
good for that one
phone, like
day.
to the Museum of Fine Arts, and they scan the barcode on your phone, or you print it out and hand them the printout.
Okay.
You don't even have to come to the library.
So
to
how
check
do you
in.
know that people aren't using it then?
Because they will only allow one. Oh, how do we know? So we only know if they didn't pick it. So this is really just the physical passes. If they didn't pick it
Oh,
up,
okay.
then
So
then
the
then
digital
it's a
ones you don't
no-show.
know. You don't know if I went.
We don't know if you went, but we do know that you made the reservation, so that's on the job of the staff to go,
Okay.
Dana made a digital reservation, so I need to check out the digital pass and check it back in to get the statistic. And I think that's the piece that's not happening. It's not enough just to get a list of reservations. We also need to do a fake check-in and check-out as if they're a real card when there's not.
So they do
But we
know
still
whether
don't.
or not I went then.
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unless the museum
So it's
reports
not
back
like
But
to
this-
even
us,
with the,
but-
even with
Okay,
a
so
real
the numbers
pass,
you're
though,
talking about aren't.
But then even
They're
with,
not
like,
re- they're
even
not-
with the pass, like if it's a physical pass,
Mm-hmm.
I could come to the library, check out a physical pass, and then not go to
Right,
the museum.
'cause
Right.
the rain
Like,
goes up.
yeah, like I
Yeah,
could
you
be
just
like,
didn't
I'd be
feel
like,
like it.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so I'm just
don't
not
wanna go to
understanding.
that.
So okay, so someone.
Yeah, we have 548 pass checkouts or pass reservations, but we know that 125 of them they never actually got the pass checked out. So did they go or not? We don't know.
Or did they pick up the pass
Yeah,
or not?
yeah.
We don't know. Or did they get the digital?
So you don't know whether or not they did it or not.
No. I mean, I could just stop.
So how
recording that
realistic is
piece.
that? What-
I could just say
maybe
we
I'm
had this
missing-
many reservations.
I don't get the number then. I don't get the.
Well, okay, so if with a physical pass, okay, if for the physical pass, if you made a reservation and you didn't show up to get it, we know you didn't.
Yeah,
go.
right, right.
But we don't know 100% that you went. But you
Yeah,
made
yeah,
the
yeah,
effort
I
to
get
get the
that.
physical pass. But for the digital one, you made the reservation. You could have gone. We don't know for sure.
Oh, so the numbers you're quoting us are people who didn't pick up the physical one.
Well, or the staff didn't note the digital checkout at all. So there was never anything physical, but we're still supposed to check in and check out the pass because there was a reservation and they didn't do it, possibly.
All right.
So it showed us a
It's kind
negative.
of, if you check out a book, I don't know if you read it. I just know that you checked
I know.
it
I'm
out. So
just
it's
trying
kind
to
of
figure out the
same thing.
importance of that number. That's what the
So
relevance.
it
of
really does vary.
It was more important when we had 19 physical passes. And
Right.
I'd say, yeah, they
Yeah.
never
'Cause if
never
they
came and got it.
Then you knew, like, oh, they didn't use it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
The digital, there's no way
Yeah.
to tell.
Yeah,
Unless,
we could.
I could stop
That
recording
number
it.
to me is not we don't know what it really means.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
to
worth
me.
looking into more about usage and what actually gets fulfilled. But for another night.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to read you 7 pages of
all right, no.
comments and things.
So, are we ready to move on to public input? And there is the public input.
I have a public. I'm not the public, but Beth, what happened? What happened with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? Didn't they
Oh,
send
that's
us a
right.
letter?
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
that was
Right.
pretty important.
Oh, I forgot that. Under new business, it was, the grant, the historic grant.
Yeah, so we applied for a grant to the Mass Historic Commission in their 29th preservation grant round. We asked for $109,000 to fund 50% of restoration and preservation of our cupola, and they granted us $70,000. So we got a letter, like a week ago.
I think, according to my research, I thought when I was talking to you about the grant, I looked it up and I thought the last grant round, 50,000 was the highest that I saw. So I think that's excellent, Beth. You should. That's really great.
awesome,
Everybody,
yeah.
you did the
Thanks.
work, and
So
some of you guys.
I know we're all
Whatever.
probably tired and don't want to do any math.
Yeah.
So 109,000 and change was 50% of the total cost, right? It was going to be 218,000 estimated for repair of the cupola. this board committed 109,000 from state aid, so then we asked MHC, Mass Historic Commission, to pick up the other 50%. They came back with 70, which means there's a $39,000 delta still. So my proposal is to combine what we said we'd pay for 109,000 with the 39,000 and go to CPC and see if they'll do a split. So that we're not even gonna be out that much money. So I'll be working on the application to CPC for them to kick in some of that money to
Okay.
help preserve it. I think it's due at the end of July. I'm hoping to get it done next week.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
and then there's a meeting on the 6th, a webinar that I am gonna attend with William Blake. Dana, if you're interested, you can certainly attend. I'm gonna check in with John Stevens and see if he'll come
I did
too,
the
and
deep
David King
dive.
needs to
I
come.
did last month's deep dive though already,
Yeah.
which was really good on material selection. So
Right. Your webinar'd out. Yeah, so this is just for
okay.
this Mass Historic Commission about the grant process, and then there's a couple steps we need to do to complete to get the funding, which won't come for a while, but I think plans are due August 31st, which is very soon.
So,
okay.
so we basically, as an organization, need to attend this meeting,
Yeah,
and then once we do it,
yeah, William and I are attending.
and you're gonna attend, and then it will be,
If someone else wants to, you're welcome, but
it could be Zoom, but,
Yeah, it
so
is-
if you do it, then we will be officially given it based upon,
we'll get a contract.
you'll get a contract.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
acceptance and acknowledgements of the letter, the webinar attendance, and then we need to schedule a site visit for Ross Steckler, who's our project coordinator for Mass Historic Commission, to come out and do a site visit in Grafton, presumably with the architect engineer. So that's gonna be me and William probably too.
All right.
Yeah, unless
That's
someone wants to
great.
sit in,
That's great.
more than welcome. But it'll be during the work day, cause that's when he'll come out.
So next meeting, sorry, the retirement celebration. So we're on 9A. I will be attending that. We'll each be signing that. And anyone else attending that?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
some time off work. I'll be there.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
I just in case the quorum would be satisfied, I posted that as a committee meeting, as a
Great.
board meeting.
Terrific.
Just in case there were four of us, and that we had some latitude to actually discuss library matters, instead of just keeping silent and people assuming that we didn't. It's just a safe measure in case there were four of us present, so.
So,
Let me ask you this, and ask the board. I know you're the most tenured. I'm the chair. Who do we want presenting this from the trustees? Me, because
I
I'm chair.
think Doug, right, wanted to do the gift card and certificate, so I'm assuming that he's going?
no, I think Roger should totally do that.
I think he should too, cause
As
he's
a
the
chair.
chair.
Yep.
Oh, but you said you're not going though.
No, I am.
No,
going.
he's
you're not
going.
Oh, I am
Okay.
going.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
good. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. I am
She'll
going.
be on it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
Yeah,
step
I
on
think she
any.
will be
I didn't
honored.
want to step on any tenured toes, but normally a chair is the one who represents the board. But I just wanted everyone's input on that out of courtesy.
That'd be great.
That's all.
the only thing I wanted to mention, and this is a little off topic, but it's under input, right? I don't know if we want to add to our agenda call for new agenda items. That's probably happens like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
throughout like the month. I guess you would call for agenda items to
Right.
include on the agenda, right?
Right.
But one of the things that I think we asked for the last time was to meet some of the new staff, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
perhaps we could work that into the next meeting, or just
Okay.
based on their availability, if they're willing to come meet us, that would be fantastic. I mean, they don't have to,
Yeah.
right?
We will pay them for their time.
Yeah,
It will be work time. Yes, absolutely.
okay.
And
Excellent.
so we could always put that at the top of the meeting, so they're not sitting around
Exactly,
collecting
yeah.
free money.
No,
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 that's-
just, they don't have to
No,
come to
no,
our
no.
meeting.
I'm
Yeah.
teasing.
I always say, yeah.
If they wanna
No,
stay.
that's a good idea. I
I
know
think
that,
that's excellent.
other departments, I know that, the chief brings in his new officers to meet the select board and the community.
That's
Yep.
great.
And so it's a good idea for people, new staff to introduce themselves. That is a good idea.
Yeah, certainly, with staff that we often don't get to interact with, because we may not be privileged to the teen areas or
Right.
the children's room or wherever, so
Sure.
it's a good opportunity to get to know the
It,
faces.
it is,
and the
it
names.
is.
I think there's a lot of them that we don't know.
I
Yeah,
agree.
well, we've had, we've
I
had
think there's so many.
several new ones and now towns.
We've been on Zoom forever, too.
So Friday, June 30th from 10 to noon, Grafton Public Library for Marilyn Wilcox's retirement. Your policy subcommittee is meeting July 10th. What day of the week is that?
Monday.
Monday at 7 p.m. in room 219.
Yep.
Board of Library Trustees will next meet on Wednesday, July 26th at 7 here. the mechanics, I guess, are iffy sometimes, but it's, I guess, having hybrid is doable for, I guess, the folks who are not able to make it, but also for the public to be able to see things live. I prefer, I like in person, but, right now we had two members that could have otherwise tonight logged into Zoom had we arranged the mechanics. Yeah,
So, we do have a phone-in policy.
sure.
All the boards have that. This is, separate from Zoom. I don't want to add in hybrid. I prefer to meet in person. But give some sort of call-in option. I don't know if this room has those capabilities.
I thought it used to, but I thought it was only available for one person to call in.
Yeah, we could always use a cell phone or something. I don't know if that'll work, but who can we talk to? We can talk to Bill and,
Yeah.
And then we
I
talked,
think-
oh, I'm sorry, we talked about next meetings, like for the Friends, so just, I think, Debbie, you got that earlier, that the Friends, next Friends board meeting is, July 25th at 7 PM. But we might just wanna include it in this grouping as well.
So
It's not a trustee.
So, getting back to Aaron's point about, even if we prefer everyone and everyone's on board to meet in person, it's possible that some folks who may want to see it live. I mean,
I
what
don't
is the
really
feedback?
recommend that.
yeah, you're kind of doing double duty. I mean, does the
Yeah.
select board do that?
Yeah,
They do.
but they
They're
have,
the only board that
but, yeah, they may be the only board that does that, but I'm not sure. Actually, no, I thought planning board did it. I thought, and they meet
school
in this
committee
room.
may do it.
School committee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I spoke with a few people about the mechanics, but I think when too many people are logged in, it's my understanding that if chair, and I wouldn't want to be running the mechanics of everything, and I shouldn't, that it can be,
Most of
The-
us are
the
gonna
recep-
make it. If we can't
but
make
the
it,
reception can become a challenge as far as the quality of the feed.
In the 10 years I've been on the board, and in maybe the last 4 years when we had the option to Zoom in, if somebody is on vacation or sick, they don't want to Zoom in. Like, they're not going above and beyond to participate in the meeting. So,
I'm just using the bathroom.
poor Bill. It's a
Yeah,
long
we've been,
meeting.
yeah, we've been using
Yeah.
Bill's
And-
time here. It's 9:45
Yeah.
already.
Oh my
Hybrid
God,
is
it's
fine, but
my
I would prefer
my
not to
bedtime.
manage people on Zoom and the screen share. I
Yes.
want somebody else to do that. It's just honestly a lot
I-
to handle.
Roger, sorry, I was gonna recommend we use
but-
the same pen, so it all looks uniform.
Oh.
That's why I wasn't signing it.
And we have a huge partner program, it turns out, on July 26th with Willard House and Clock Museum. Like, we have a NASA ambassador coming. So the staff certainly didn't look at the board meeting dates when they scheduled it. But I would actually like to suggest we all go to that program and reschedule our meeting.
When is that?
I would
So
agree with
it's
that.
Wednesday, July 26th. It's
What
at
ti-
Willard House.
what time
I
is it?
believe it starts at 7:30.
It starts
And there's a
at 7:30 PM.
stargazing portion.
Yeah, but if I
They,
mean, we do need to tackle our regular business.
I'm happy to meet the week before. They have procured 3 brand new telescopes from Celestron and would like to gift it to them to the library.
Oh.
They're currently in processing. and
Okay.
It just happened this week.
And they also have given us some permanent
Yeah,
a Willard
So,
clock that's in the
if we're
Wheelock
able to
reading room.
meet the 19th
I mean, sounds-
or August.
Is
whatever the
everyone
next
free
August
on the
date
19th at
is.
7 o'clock?
I might-
The other piece is I'm moving and I have to be out of my apartment on the 31st of July. We just got notice to quit yesterday, so I don't know how available I'll be to go to either event at
Okay.
the end of this month, because this is like a
I
huge
think
crisis for my
trustees, I
family.
think somebody from the trustees
um,
needs to be at the 26th
yeah.
event if you're not gonna be there.
I think we should all go.
think we
I
should
do
all go.
too. I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
So basically, just
Not
post,
to cause mutiny.
Can we do it another, I know I can't, I don't think I can do it on the 19th,
okay.
but
You could call in though, because we'll be hybrid.
I'm not gonna.
Sorry, what was the date, the new proposed date?
Wednesday, the July
We do
19th.
Wednesday the 19th.
Okay, that's what we're
I
definitely.
mean, I can make it. I'll have to check the room availability here.
Yep, 19th is good for me.
Okay, so
I can do the 19th or the 2nd of August.
so is that at least a quorum? And we can check with Doug and Stephanie.
All right, I do have a question though. Any meetings that we have, even if they're not meetings, need to be in accessible places. I don't know if the Willard House is an accessible location.
The barn should be. I think the program is going to be in the barn, and
Is
then
it?
it's outside stargazing. I can confirm.
All right, please,
Yeah.
because that's a very important part of the open meeting law is that
Yeah.
even if we're not really
Even if it's not a
deliberating in the
meeting.
sense that we usually
Yeah.
do,
Okay,
that-
we'll all be going, okay.
that meetings need to be in accessible places.
I'll find out.
Yeah, thanks.
Pretty sure it is.
I think the other thing too with the 19th is this room available on the 19th?
I will look into that.
What time is that event at the,
I believe it's 7:30.
okay, thank you.
Could you pass that down along with my?
Oh,
email
yeah,
pen?
sure. I'm
They
sorry.
Yeah, they sent me a press
you
release
send
today,
it?
so
They did, thank
I'll
you.
send it out.
All right, and Carrie. and
Do we need to make a reservation for that?
Yeah, you'll sign up on the library's website. I don't know if they listed it. Yeah, they're actually presenting the telescope, which I
So
didn't
is
realize.
that something that's free to the public? It's
Yes.
Free of charge?
Free and open to the public,
So the
supported
pres-
by Webster First Federal Credit Union.
All right, if you could pass the,
Okay.
MJ Johnson is the NASA representative.
well, using the same pen.
Oh, well, maybe I can get my son to come.
And I'll reach out to Doug to sign that, in advance.
Trustees.
All right. I think are we all set? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Aaron seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those
Aye.
opposed? Declare the motion carried. This meeting is adjourned at 9:40.